Chapter 14:13. The host saw this and shouted, all right, all right. No matter how stingy we are, we have to pay for this. Mr. Gu, do you want to come up and play? The host was so bold that even the director was shocked. He kept looking at Gu Jing's expression as if he was afraid that he would be angry. However, something unexpected happened. Gu Jingze looked at Lin Che and then at the host. Then, he stood up and strode towards the stage with his long legs. The two hosts were so shocked that they covered their mouths. They watched in disbelief as Gu Jingze got closer and closer. Lin Che was also shocked. She stood up and said, "Hey, Gu Jingze." Gu Jingze squinted his eyes and smiled. That captivating smile made the host fall for him. After being a host for so many years and interviewing so many people, this was the first time that she was flustered. Wow, Mr. Gu, is this your first TV show? The host did not forget to tease him. Gu Jingze nodded. If it's not a secret shot, it should be. Seeing that Gu Jingze was so friendly, the host relaxed a lot. The group watched as the staff brought up a huge chair for Gu Jingze to sit on. Lin Che followed suit and sat down. After sitting down, Gu Jingze naturally held Lin Che's hand and placed it in his palm. They looked at Lin Che and smiled at each other. The two of them showed off their love for each other, causing the audience to sigh and scream. The audience watching the live broadcast went wild. The host said, "Wow, it's really like today. Our live broadcast room has suddenly become especially glorious." The other said, "You look at this chair. No one has ever sat on it before. Did they buy in a hurry?" Lin Che looked at Gu Jingze. She was so infatuated that she was speechless. She stared at Gu Jingze like a little girl. Gu Jingze looked at her and smiled gently from time to time. The host said, Lin Che, will you die of happiness looking at this face every day?" Lin Che nodded vigorously. "Yeah, I haven't gotten tired of looking at it for so many years." "Ha ha ha. Are you going to be jealous of us?" Lin Che squinted her eyes and laughed. The MC said, "Who was chasing who at the beginning?" Lin Che stared blankly at Gu Jingze, blinking his eyes. "Well, how should I put this?" Gu Jingze looked ahead and said calmly, "Look at the two of us. You should know who's chasing who." The host was stunned for a moment before understanding what was going on. Ha 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 ha. So Lin Che took the initiative? What? Lin Che clenched his fists in protest. "What are you doing? Why do you know who's chasing who just by looking at us?" Gu Jingze looked at her and smiled. He said to the host, "You misunderstood. I took the initiative." The host said in surprise, "Ah, really? That's right. Otherwise, how am I going to explain to them when I get back?" Ha ha. The crowd outside roared with laughter. Lin Che protested, "Gu Jingze, hey, you're too bad. Can't you give me some face outside?" Gu Jingze continued, "Well, actually, it doesn't matter who took the initiative. When we first met, we really didn't want to be together. But as we got to know each other, we gradually recognized each other. Feelings are only known when two people get to know each other. I don't believe in love at first sight." Wow. The MC said, "So who's listening to who at home now?" Gu Jingze said, "I'm definitely listening to her." "Wow, really? But she usually asks for my opinion," Gu Jingze added. Lin Che curled his lips and said, "Yes, then I did as he said." But Lin Che still listened to him. Gu Jingze smiled and said, "Yeah, because Lin Che is very smart. She knows that she's stupid and can't make decisions well. Can't this person get to the bottom of his words?" The MC said, "Wow. Then who usually takes care of the two kids?" Gu Jingze said, "She takes care of herself every year and takes care of her sister. I take care of Lin Che." After saying that, she lovingly rubbed Lin Che's head. The people at the scene were instantly swept away. He was treating Lin Che like a child. Lin Che's face darkened again. Hey, there's so many fans watching. Can't you give me some face?" Gu Jingze said, Okay, I'll give you face. Actually, she's quite smart." "Really? Otherwise, why would I pick her?" The interview between the two of them spread quickly. Gu Jingze went online, and it was a live interview. Inside, Gu Jingze and Lin Che were wantonly adding sugar. It was so sweet that one could die from it. In an instant, many people put down whatever they were doing. Some even dropped their work and turned on the live broadcast of the show to watch. Ever since the show started, The ratings had always been good. It was also very popular and often appeared on the trending topics list. But there had never been a day when it was as popular as today. The ratings skyrocketed. 10%, 20-something, 30-something. Oh my God, it's almost time for the Spring Festival Gala. No, it's about to surpass the Spring Festival Gala. Oh my God, Gu Jingze and Lin Che's appeal. While everyone was in awe, they saw that the broadcast had already started on the internet. And on the television, Gu Jingze's hand was still holding Lin Che's. The host was stunned by the sweet feeling of the two of them. Then, if you had to choose one sentence that you'd like to say to Lin Che, what would you say? Gu Jingze looked at Lin Che, then at the camera. He smiled and said, "After being with Lin Che for so many years, she has endured a lot for me, changed a lot, suffered a lot for me, and even saved my life more than once. In the past, I respected her development and wanted her to prove herself with her own abilities. But now, I want to tell everyone that she is my wife. No matter what she does, I will stand by her side. No matter who wants to hurt her or slander her, I will protect her. When it comes to relationships, I have no bottom line. So I hope that those who have been thinking of hurting us will listen to what I have to say today." Wow, it was such a blatant threat. The two hosts in the live broadcast room deeply experienced Gu Jingze's dominance. When he spoke, the look in his eyes was so sharp that it sent chills down one's spine. Yet, it also made them want to submit to him from the bottom of their hearts. This was probably the so-called aura of a ruler. Chapter 1414. Very soon, the TV series started broadcasting. With Gu Jingze around, the ratings of the TV series shot up. Although Gu Jingze was in the background most of the time, everyone was still very interested in his topics. There were also people who kept saying that although Gu Jingze was the background, he looked like he was with Lin Che. What should I do? I don't think the male lead needs to appear at all. I feel annoyed when I see him. He's blocking my Gu Jingze. Who's Gu Jingze? Gu Jingze is mine. Lin Che watched from outside the computer. He said bitterly, "Gu Jingze is mine." Seriously, she wouldn't let Gu Jingze appear on screen again. He was clearly her man, but he had to be praised by so many people at the same time. No, she was jealous. At this moment, a servant came in to deliver something. "Madam, the President Palace has good news. They said that Madam President is pregnant again and invited everyone to enjoy the flowers and tea." Ah, Minmin is pregnant? Lin Che thought in surprise. Previously, Yu Minmin had said that it would be difficult for her to get pregnant. After so many years, nothing had happened to her, but she couldn't get pregnant. She might have gotten hurt when she was giving birth. But wasn't she pregnant now? Lin Che said, "Congratulations. Prepare some gifts and we'll go together." "All right, did you ask who else is going?" "I think quite a few people have been invited. Mr. President is very happy this time and has opened the door to welcome everyone." Lin Che smiled. "Of course we're happy." Glass Palace was indeed in a state of jubilation. Yu Minmin had only found out after being pregnant for more than 3 months. After entering, Lin Che was led by a servant to see Yu Minmin. As they walked, he heard the servant say, "Madam is really careless." Mr. President asked about it and felt that something was wrong. He called a doctor and found out that she was pregnant for 3 months. Madam didn't even know about it. Lin Che said, "She probably didn't think that way." "Yeah, Mr. President is very happy." The two of them entered as they spoke. Yu Minmin was lying on the bed with a pile of supplements beside her. Seeing Lin Che, she looked helpless. "It's starting again." "I knew it." Lin Che smiled. "It's all because I like you." Lin Che sat down and said, "But how is it possible that you didn't even realize that you were pregnant?" Yu Minmin said, "I've always had an unstable period. Recently, I felt that my chest has been swollen and it's a little uncomfortable. But every time I have my period, it's the same. I think it's my period." Lin Che shook his head and looked at his confused mother. Outside, everyone had come to offer their congratulations. In an instant, the entire Glass Palace's living room was filled. When they went out, they saw Gu Jingyu and Gu Jingze sitting together. Gu Jingming was talking to Liu Beichen. He Ying was sitting with Mu Firen. The kids were playing on the ground. It was noisy, but it was also happy and harmonious. As soon as Lin Che and Yu Minmin came out, Gu Jingming walked over and carefully supported Yu Minmin. Yu Minmin said speechlessly, "All right, I'm pregnant, not disabled." Gu Jing sneered, "Don't talk nonsense." Next to him, Gu Jingyu also laughed and said, "Really? Big brother can also be so nervous. I thought you always put on a cold face." Gu Jingyu sneered, "You'll know once you try to get married." Lin Che said, "I think it'll be soon." Recently, hasn't he been with? Gu Jingyu's face darkened immediately. Lin Che, don't talk nonsense. I can't be happy alone. Why should I get married? I'll be like you guys. After getting married, it's like a catastrophe. Each of you is so slow, as if you're a different person. I don't want that. Gu Jingyu sneered. You're saying that because you can't eat the grapes, you're saying that the grapes are sour. Gu Jingyu said, "Hee hee, you say it as if I really want it." Gu Jingming looked at Gu Jingze and said, "Oh yeah, I remember you said that Lin Che wanted to seduce someone." Gu Jingze raised his head. Lin Che was still eating snacks. When he heard Gu Jingming's words, he immediately choked. Why? Why did he suddenly bring up this issue? Hey, what are you talking about? Gu Jingming sneered. Didn't you want to create a scandal and seduce Gu Jingyu? In the end, that night, did Gu Jingyu give Gu Jingze the room to rest and let the two of you? Lin Che hurriedly tried to stop him, but Gu Jingming had already finished talking. Gu Jingyu looked at him with a dumbfounded expression. What? When did it happen? Why didn't I know? Gu Jingze did tell Gu Jingming. At that time, when he had just gotten involved with Lin Che, Gu Jingze told Gu Jingming everything. But Gu Jingyu definitely didn't tell him. Lin Che hurriedly stood up and said, no. Big brother remembered wrongly. Gu Jingyu's eyes moved. She had already understood. Oh, I remember now. There was a time when I said that the presidential suite in the 7-star hotel owned by the Gu family was not bad, and I asked second brother to try it. He didn't want to go, but I still dragged him there. Oh my, did something happen between Lin Che and second brother that night? Lin Che covered his head. Her face was burning when she mentioned what happened that year in front of so many people. Seriously, could they not talk about such ridiculous things? Gu Jingyu slapped his thigh and said, damn, if I had stayed there that year and didn't give it to second brother then. However, before he could finish his words, Gu Jingze had already stood up. He looked at Gu Jingyu with a threatening tone and said, then what? Gu Jingyu saw Gu Jingze's warning look and quickly shut his mouth. Oh, nothing. He had forgotten that the vinegar jar was still here. But Gu Jingyu must have thought that way in his heart. If he hadn't given the room to Gu Jingze back then, wouldn't Lin Che have been his doubt? What a pity. However, perhaps this was fate. Gu Jingyu said, then what happened between you and Lin Che that night? Hearing this, Gu Jingze looked at Lin Che with a dubious look in his eyes. Lin Che's face was already as red as a ripe persimmon, and he was on the verge of collapsing. Yu Minmin was still a little confused. She didn't know when this had happened. What are you talking about? Lin Che said hurriedly, Okay, don't talk about it anymore. Gu Jingyu said, gosh, what on earth happened? Did you force yourself on my second brother? I don't think my second brother was interested in women at that time. How could anything happen between you and him? Gu Jingyu was speechless. He didn't force himself on her, definitely not. But it seemed no different from forcing himself on her. Lin Che wanted to cry, but had no tears. If she was given another chance, she really wouldn't do such a stupid thing. But thinking about it, if she hadn't been so stupid back then, she probably wouldn't have met Gu Jingze. Chapter 14-15. After all, he was such a high and mighty person. How could she have gotten to know him through ordinary means? They might not even have any interaction at all. At this moment, Gu Jingming said, speaking of which, I also gave you a present. What? Lin Che had a bad feeling. Gu Jingming said, you'll know when you go out later. I know you'll like it. Lin Che and Gu Jingze looked at each other. Yu Minmin said, hurry up and go out to have a look. She pushed Lin Che out of the room. Lin Che was pulled by Gu Jingze. She looked at him, but he seemed to have no idea where to go. The two of them were pushed out of the room. They got into the car and drove forward. After a while, they stopped in front of a hotel. Lin Che looked up. This hotel. Wasn't this the hotel that they stayed in before? However, Gu Jingze remained calm and pulled Lin Che out of the car. When the two of them reached the room, Lin Che's heart was pounding. She even felt a little embarrassed. Gu Jingze looked at her and asked, "How did you get in?" Lin Che covered her face and said, I had a relative who worked here. I begged her for a long time before she let me in. I told her that I was a fan of Gu Jingyu and that I wanted to see his room. She believed me and opened the door for me." Gu Jingze stared at her and shook his head. "You're lucky to be able to get in." Then the two of them walked in. Gu Jingming was considerate. The room was exactly the same as before. The room was the same and the furnishings were the same. Gu Jingze said, "Then, you drugged me the moment you came in?" Lin Che pointed at the bottle of water at the side. "I saw this water in here. I saw you drink it and thought that you would drink it again when you came back, so I drugged it." He did drink it when he came back. He was thirsty after talking so much during the meeting, so he drank half a bottle in one go. Then, he couldn't take it anymore. Everything he saw was hallucinatory. He felt that his body was bloated, as if it didn't belong to him anymore. He glared at her. "How much did you drug me?" Lin Che's face was red, and he scratched his head in embarrassment. I thought it was a hallucinogen. I didn't know what kind of drug it was, so I just poured it all in. Really, I was afraid that I would wake up halfway. Wouldn't I be dead then? I was thinking that since you were asleep, I would directly go over and take a picture, but who knew? Who knew that after he drank it, he would lie there in pain. When she got up to check on him, he would pull her away. At that time, she was stunned, thinking that she had been discovered. She wanted to say something, but Gu Jingze, who had already lost his temper, pressed her down and started to bite her without saying anything. At that time, he also kissed her, but because he was unconscious, it was no longer a kiss, but a bite. Otherwise, how could he have left so many marks on her body? At that time, Lin Che really didn't feel like he was enjoying it all. He was directly pressed down and then pressed down. She was in so much pain, but Gu Jingze was so strong that she couldn't push him away. Just like that, her first time was snatched away for no reason at all. It was really like being torn apart, because he was so courageous. Under the effect of the drug, he still rammed into her without reason. She was scared to death at that time. Okay, now that she thought about it, she was really too unwise at that time. Gu Jingze looked at her with a smile. After that, while Lin Che was still thinking, Gu Jingze had already pressed her down. "Aya, what are you doing?" Lin Che cried out, realizing that she was already pressed down on the bed. Gu Jingze looked at her and said, "What do you think I want to do?" "Oh no, you suddenly. Did I press down on you like this at that time?" Gu Jingze held her arms with both hands and pressed her down on the bed. Lin Che blushed and said yes. And then you bit down on me." Gu Jingze's lips pressed down immediately. He kissed her lips passionately and sucked deeply. "Is that so?" Lin Che panted and said, "Oh, slow down. Do you think I can slow down?" "Oh no. Who asked you to provoke me first?" You're so annoying." Gu Jingze unbuttoned her clothes one by one, following her body, leaving a string of traces. Lin Che closed his eyes. He was much gentler than Gu Jingze had been in the past. As they lingered, he sighed and bit her ear. "Where did you get the medicine back then?" Lin Che whimpered and said, "Anyway, it's a fucking black market." Gu Jingze looked at her and said, "Then shouldn't I find him?" "Why?" "To thank him for the medicine." "Get lost at the president's residence." After Gu Jingze and Lin Che left, Gu Jingyu started to speak freely. "Is there anything wrong with what I said?" "I was the one who let him have it," Yu Minmin said. Yu Minmin said, "But did Lin Che really make the first move?" Not bad. Lin Che is quite brave." Liu Beichen said, "Isn't that fate?" Gu Jingyan said, "I didn't expect second brother to be schemed against." I'm curious what his expression was like at that time. Liu Beichen placed his hand on Gu Jingyan's side. Gu Jingyan glanced at him and said, "Hey, that's enough." Liu Beichen said, "What's wrong? Is there a problem with me touching you?" Gu Jingyan said, "My hands are dirty. I don't like it." Duh. Liu Beichen got excited and said, "Damn, you're my wife. I can touch you if I want." Yu Minmin said, "What's up with him now?" Gu Jingming said, "It's a routine quarrel." Yu Minmin frowned and said, "Why are they still quarreling?" Gu Jingming looked at Liu Beichen and said, "That kid has been dishonest all this time. I can't do anything about it." Huh? You're not being honest. Did Jing Yin catch you again? Is Liu Beichen cheating on her? No, it's just a small matter. I heard that he's sponsoring that woman, and Jing Yin found out about it. So they're living apart now. Living apart. Want to be a big deal? Liu Beichen is starting to loosen up, but Jing Yin isn't that easy to coax. Sigh, it's been so many years, who knows? Who knew where they were going? Gu Jingyan walked out of the door. Liu Beichen chased after her. Gu Jingyan, what are you doing? Come back here. Although they were at the president's residence, all the servants outside knew Gu Jingyan's identity, and naturally, no one dared to stop her. Gu Jingyan said, "Get lost. Stay away from me." "No way. You're my wife. I'll be wherever you are." Gu Jingyan looked at him and said, "Huh, we agreed on a divorce. Who's your wife?" Liu Beichen said, "Huh, you're my wife for as long as we haven't settled the divorce." "Why? Are you denying it?" "Moi, a new article has been published. It's here, hidden wife. Hubby, don't play with me." Chapter 14:16. Gu Jingyan was furious when she saw Liu Beichen chasing after her again. "Hey, don't you have any shame? Hee, what's wrong? Is it shameless to chase after your own wife? That's even more shameless." Liu Beichen grabbed Gu Jingyan and pressed her against the wall. Gu Jingyan struggled and hit him. At the side, the servants and security guards of Glass Palace heard the scream and looked over. Unexpectedly, they saw a couple entangled in a complicated situation. Liu Beichen turned around and looked at them coldly. "What are you looking at? Haven't you seen a couple quarrel before?" When the servants heard this, they could only turn their heads away, not daring to look at him again. The couple was famous in their circle. It was best for outsiders not to get involved in their fight, or they would be seriously injured. Seeing that everyone was ignoring them, Gu Jingyan glared at Liu Beichen angrily. "Let go of me if you have the guts." It's not like you don't know whether I have the guts or not. I don't see how you have the guts. Let's go inside. I'll show you my seed." "That's all you have? That counts as seed?" Gu Jingyan's meaningful gaze shifted to a certain unspeakable position below him. 2 pieces of meat? Liu Beichen's eyes darkened and he looked at her fiercely. "Are you sure it's only 2 pieces of meat? How can 2 pieces of meat make you want to die?" "Since when did I want to die?" You're denying it now that you've gotten off the bed? Get lost, Liu Beichen. You're so naive. I just cooperated with you, and you're saying that I want to die? Liu Beichen felt that one day he would die of anger because of this woman. You better not be so stubborn later. Liu Beichen reached out to grab her. Let go of me, Liu Beichen. Who allowed you to touch me? You've done it so many times. Do you still want to pretend to be a chaste woman in front of me? Liu Beichen ignored her screams and carried her on his shoulder. The passers-by watched, but did not dare to come closer, because Liu Beichen's indomitable expression was truly terrifying. Gu Jingyan's strength was not small. She had always liked to exercise. She had also practiced taekwondo and women's judo for many years. Ordinary men would not be her match, but in the end, she was no match for men. Liu Beichen, don't touch me. If you don't put me down, I won't go easy on you. What do you mean not polite? The kind on the bed? You don't think it's dirty, but I do. You're thinking about other women, yet you still touch me. Are you even human? What does our physiological needs have to do with who we are thinking about? Liu Beichen threw him into the back seat. The driver thought that the two of them were leaving and hurried over. Liu Beichen turned around and warned, "Scram." The driver was startled and scrambled away. Then, Liu Beichen closed the door and got in the driver's seat. However, if Gu Jingyan was that honest, she wouldn't be Gu Jingyan. Liu Beichen, I'm not leaving. Let me out. I don't want to go with you. I'm disgusted to be in the same car with you. She crawled over to grab the car keys. Their car keys did not have a keyhole. As long as the key was on one side, it could be found and started. Hence, Liu Beichen's key was placed in the middle. Gu Jingyan saw it immediately and grabbed the key, throwing it out. I'm not leaving. Liu Beichen looked at the key that was thrown so far away that he could no longer see it. His eyes were filled with anger. He turned around and smirked. Oh, so Miss Gu likes exciting things. If you don't want to go out, then let's do it here. Then Liu Beichun flipped over and jumped from the front to the back. Are you? Sure, go ahead and scream. Let everyone hear how lewd Miss Gu is in bed. You, Liu Beichun, you're a jerk. 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 How could she have been so blind to fall for such a jerk? However, in the beginning, he wasn't completely like this. The sunny, brilliant, domineering, and suave man at that time was definitely not like him. But there was no turning back, was there? If they had not gotten married at that time, if she had allowed him and Fu Qinxi to be together, would things have turned out differently? Gu Jingyan closed her eyes deeply. At that time, Gu Jingyan and Liu Beichun had met when she was a grade 1 student at First High School. At that key provincial high school, there were many straight-A students who attended the same school as the domineering students who had forced their way in. Most people did not know Gu Jingyan's identity at that time. Because she had gotten into the school with her own abilities, she had studied hard and attended classes like the straight-A students. She had never mingled with those hedonistic rich kids. Liu Beichun, on the other hand, was definitely a hedonistic rich kid. She remembered that it had been an unbearably hot day. The school had just started a month ago, and it had suddenly become extremely restless. Do you know who will be transferred to the school today? Will be transferred. Look at how excited you all are. Is it a celebrity? Of course not. He's much better than a celebrity. Who is it? He's even more powerful than a celebrity. I'm dying of curiosity. Tell me quickly. Liu Beichun. Liu Beichun? Who's that? Huh, you must be kidding. Don't you know Liu Beichun? He's the eldest son of the Liu family. The biggest shopping malls in city belong to his family. Oh, isn't that another young master? Hee, isn't there a lot of young masters like this in our school? Because they admired the school's results and prestige, many rich kids went to school here. In almost every class, there will be. You compare him to those hedonistic rich kids. Haha, all of them combined are not as rich as the Liu family. Not to mention, Liu Beichun heard that he was the overlord of his family. Anyone who offended him would die a horrible death. Even his parents would not recognize him. Not to mention, he had actually gone to a high school abroad. But his father was sick and wanted him to come back to settle the family business. That's why he was transferred here. Otherwise, his results would definitely be top-notch. He wouldn't be any worse than the straight-A students in our school. Really? Who did you hear that from? My auntie's relative works as a servant in the Lius. My auntie specially told me that he's coming to our school. Just thinking about it makes me excited. No wonder all the teachers and principals were so diligent today, cleaning up the school so well. They must be here to welcome him. No way. That's amazing. As soon as he finished speaking, everyone saw that the principal had already gone out to welcome him. Chapter 14:17. On the other side, when they were talking, but didn't notice the two girls together. Gu Jingyan listened and shook her head speechlessly. Fu Qinxi looked up and asked, "Who are they talking about? He sounds so powerful." Gu Jingyan said, "The one from the Liu family. I think I've heard of him before. He was overbearing, impatient, and liked to fight. Many people in the circle had been beaten up by him. It sounded barbaric. Her mother had once told her to stay away from him if she ever met him in the future. Luckily, Gu Jingyan didn't have much contact with the disciples outside. Because she was a maverick since she was young, few people knew that she was the only daughter of the Gu family, the fourth daughter of the Gu family. She said, "Who cares as long as he doesn't come to our class to cause trouble?" Fu Qinxi looked at Gu Jingyan and felt that she was always calm. Although she was curious, she couldn't act too worldly, so she could only look outside. She suppressed her thoughts and continued to read her book like Gu Jingyan. However, her mind was already looking outside. Outside, many people really did follow him out. At the school gate, a flashy blue sports car drove into the school like a blue flame. The school leaders who had gone out to welcome them hurriedly followed them in. However, the owner of the car didn't care about them. After it stopped, he didn't get out of the car until the cars behind him drove in together. A row of luxury cars, each more dazzling than the last. The school gate immediately turned into a car show. The girls and boys inside, whether they knew or didn't, were instantly attracted by the scene outside. Wow, who is that? Luxury cars. Look, it's a Ferrari in front, a Bentley at the back, and a Porsche at the back. Wow, who is that? He drove his car directly into the school. Fu Chenxi couldn't help but look over again. But Gu Jingyan was still leaning there calmly. TSK, what a show-off. She commented lightly, thinking that it had nothing to do with her and that she didn't need to care. Unexpectedly, half an hour later, the excited teacher walked into the classroom and announced to the students in a loud voice. Attention, everyone. Today, we are going to welcome our new classmates. The students who were studying raised their heads one after another. He saw that the man was wearing a denim jacket with a school bag on one shoulder, slightly messy but very stylish hair, a handsome face, handsome thin lips, a stiff nose, and a pair of sharp eyes. Even that extremely wanton lips were curled up, and an unruly aura was instantly reflected in his evil eyes. What a handsome man! In the class, the girls suddenly widened their eyes, and the boys also suddenly became interested. Some were jealous, some admired, and some sighed. This student is Liu Beichen. He just transferred here, so we'll be classmates from now on. Liu Beichen's gaze swept across the entire classroom with a hint of indifference. Wherever he went, the girls' faces would turn red. Then, where should student Liu sit now? The teacher looked at the little tyrant of the capital with a fawning expression before sweeping a glance at the students below. Generally speaking, those young masters who weren't good at studying would be left at the back to fend for themselves. However, who would dare to throw the Liu family's young master to the back? The teacher directly looked at the seat at the front. Student Liu, you can sit at the seat on the side, next to Gu Jingyan. Wow! The students present all gasped in admiration. No way, sitting next to the top student in the class. That was the best seat in the class. It was not too much to give it to Gu Jingyan, who was the top student in the whole school. Now, the teacher directly gave the seat next to her to this transfer student. Really, the privileged class. Liu Beichen glanced over and did not think much of it. It didn't matter to him which seat it was. Okay. He threw his school bag over his shoulder and walked over. After she sat down, she didn't even look at the people beside her. She threw her bag into the study table and crossed her legs. She looked forward, but she didn't know that Fu Chenxi, who was sitting behind Gu Jingyan, was looking straight ahead. So handsome that she had never seen such a handsome boy in her life. Liu Beichen was already used to this kind of situation. He turned around and looked at Fu Chenxi. Fu Chenxi was stunned. When the handsome guy looked at her, she was so scared that she quickly lowered her head and blushed. Liu Beichen smiled as he looked at the blushing girl. He turned his head and looked to the side with an indifferent gaze. He saw that the side profile of the girl with delicate skin was a little arrogant and a little indifferent. She was looking forward, as if she was not looking at him at all. This was a very beautiful girl. It was not enough to say that she was beautiful. She had a pair of sharp eyes that were covered by thick eyelashes. She had fair and flawless cheeks, a little bit of lips, and a slender face with a perfect oval face. Her ears were small, and her hair was combed into a simple bun. Her yellowish hair was scattered to one side, but it didn't seem messy. Below her was a beautiful neck. She wore a simple school uniform, but it couldn't hide the arrogance and nobility that filled her body. Liu Beichen raised his eyebrows and said, "Hey, I'm Liu Beichen. We'll be desk mates from now on." Gu Jingyan turned around and nodded. Oh, Gu Jingyan. Gu Jingyan? The name was familiar. Liu Beichen paused and suddenly remembered. Gu Jingyan? Gu Jingze. Gu Jingyu. Gu Jingming. You. Liu Beichen immediately remembered. When they were young, they had met. She was the youngest child of the Gu family. She was the only girl in the family, so she was doted on. She had been a proud little princess since she was young, and the whole family doted on her. When he had first met her when they were young, she had been standing there with a doll in her arms. She had cried when she saw him, saying that she did not want him to come to her house. This had really traumatized him. Was he really that scary? The Gu family and the Liu family had been friends for many years. Even if others did not know, how could Liu Beichen not know? But was it her? Was this the little girl who had cried her eyes out and pushed him away? Gu Jingyan blinked and said, "What?" Liu Beichen said, "We've met before, right?" Gu Jingyan had completely forgotten about the scandals that had happened when she was young. Liu Beichun raised his eyebrows and said, "Hey, you used to wipe your snot all over me when you were young. Now you want to go back on your word? Hey, why are you in this school? Did the Gu family allow you to come to school?" Gu Jingyan's heart jumped. No way. He knew her. She hurriedly covered his mouth. She had never told anyone that she was the fourth mistress of the Gu family. Was he going to expose her when he had just arrived? The people next to her exploded because of this action of hers. This Gu Jingyan. Why was she hugging Liu Beichun the moment they met? Chapter 14:18. Liu Beichun, who had his mouth covered, was also stunned. He was not as surprised as the people around him. After all, she was the fourth daughter of the Gu family. She had been like this since she was young. It was normal for her to be like this now. Everyone looked at Gu Jingyan and broke into a cold sweat. No way. Although he was a little good-looking, Gu Jingyan couldn't be so direct. Moreover, Liu Beichun was said to be a very powerful person. Those who had offended him in the past had been punished many times. If she were to hug him like this, Liu Beichun would definitely be displeased. Would Liu Beichun punish her in a fit of anger? They had heard that he was a very fierce person. Oh dear, Gu Jingyan was going to be in trouble. Everyone was still watching from the side. Unexpectedly, when Liu Beichun finally broke free from her hand, he burst into laughter. "Hey, what are you doing? Why are you covering your mouth?" Gu Jingyan's face was red with anger. She pouted and looked at him. "Don't say it. Do you hear me?" Liu Beichun was not stupid. When he heard her words, he immediately understood. "Oh, I didn't know you liked to play this game." Gu Jingyan said, "Not everyone likes to be high profile like you." "Ha, you are still as proud as when you were young," Liu Beichun said, looking at the expression on her face. Gu Jingyan tilted her head and looked at him. "You are the same. You are still as arrogant as when you were young." "Ha, how am I arrogant? How am I arrogant? I don't care. You are not allowed to say anything here. Do you hear me?" "Yes, yes, yes. Yes." Elder Mississippi Liu Beichun smiled. Everyone was watching from the side, so they couldn't hear their low voices. However, they could see Liu Beichun smiling at Gu Jingyan. He didn't look angry at all. Why was Liu Beichun so gentle to Gu Jingyan? He couldn't have fallen for her the moment he arrived, could he? However, everyone fully acknowledged Gu Jingyan's beauty. She had already become famous when she arrived at school, and there were many people chasing after her. Unfortunately, she had always been arrogant and ignored everyone. When they heard that she had entered #1 middle school with the highest score in the exam and that she had directly climbed to the top of the rankings, everyone really thought that Gu Jingyan was prepared to be a beautiful bookworm and be unreasonable. However, there were still many people who came to visit her in class. Therefore, it was understandable that Liu Beichun was interested in her because he had just arrived and did not know much about her. He could only sigh. This was indeed a world that only cared about appearances. That the teacher also saw the two of them chatting. For a moment, the attention of the whole class was attracted by them. No one was listening to her anymore. However, one of them was the top student in the school, while the other was the young master of the Liu family. She did not know how to stop them. For a moment, he could only stand there and watch. After class, "Let's go. I'll take you to eat something good," Liu Beichun said to Gu Jingyan. "What do you want to eat? There's nothing in school. Let's go out." "Go out? Don't go to class." "What class?" "Let's go. I'll take you out. We haven't seen each other for more than 10 years. As the host, shouldn't you treat me to a meal first? Hurry up." Liu Beichun pulled Gu Jingyan up and was about to leave. Fu Chenxi, who was behind them, was puzzled. She could not hear what the two of them were saying, and she was even more surprised. Why did they seem to know each other so well? When she heard Liu Beichun's words, she quickly asked, "Jingyan, where are you going?" Gu Jingyan suddenly remembered that Fu Chenxi was with them. Before Liu Beichun pulled her away, she quickly pulled Fu Chenxi up. "Let's go together." "Ah, we're not going to class." Gu Jingyan's grades were excellent, but Fu Chenxi's grades were terrible. She was lucky to be able to enter this school. When they arrived, she realized that she was only in the same class as Gu Jingyan. Gu Jingyan was well off, so she would bring her along whenever she was free. She brought her to study, brought her to eat, and never let Fu Chenxi pay. Later on, Fu Chenxi found out that she was from the Gu family, a shockingly wealthy family. She was the only one in the class who knew about this. She pulled Fu Chenxi all the way to the entrance. "Hey, what are you doing? You can't go out." The security guard at the entrance wanted to stop them, but when he saw that it was Liu Beichun, he swallowed his words. "Oh, young Master Liu, I'm sorry. I didn't see who you were. Please, please." Liu Beichun waved his hand. "Thank you." Then he went to his red Ferrari, opened the door, and got in. "Come on, get in." Gu Jingyan shook her head, followed him to the back, and asked Fu Chenxi to get in. It was the first time that Fu Chenxi had sat in such a good car. She watched as the car window was opened and the hood of the sports car was retracted. The red Ferrari became a convertible sports car. The wind was howling. Liu Beichun stepped on the accelerator, and the car rushed out like the wind. Fu Chenxi was so shocked that she held onto the car door. However, a good car was indeed a good car. The car was driving so fast, but it was still so stable. There was no feeling of shaking at all. Fu Chenxi was so shocked that she didn't dare to say anything. She saw that Gu Jingyan was very calm, and she just frowned at Liu Beichun. "Can you drive slower? Do you think you're driving a plane?" Liu Beichun looked at the rearview mirror and laughed. "Why are you afraid?" "Yeah, even if you want to die, we don't want to accompany you. Don't worry, my driving skills are amazing. Even if I want to die, no one would dare to take me. Tell me, what do you want to eat?" "Whatever. Didn't you want me to treat you?" "It depends on what you like to eat." "That's what you said." Gu Jingyan really shouldn't have said that. Then they saw the car stop in front of a bar. "Hey, it can't be." The succubus bar was full of people even in the day. It was the best bar in the whole of City B. It was open 24 hours, and people could come and get drunk at any time. Hey, we're not adults yet. Are you crazy?" Gu Jingyan shouted. Liu Beichun said, "Didn't you say that I can eat whatever I like?" Fu Chenxi was pulled by Gu Jingyan, and she hid behind her. "Jingyan, are we really going in?" However, Liu Beichun had already walked in. The two girls had no choice but to follow him in. "A booth, the best one," Liu Beichun said as he threw the Ferrari keys to the doorman. "Oh, okay, we'll be there right away." Seeing that it was a Ferrari, the doorman immediately went to get the car. Chapter 14:19. On the other side, the three of them found a table and sat down. Liu Beichun ordered some simple dishes, and the music was deafening. Gu Jingyan looked at Liu Beichun and said, "Hey, you haven't told me yet. Why did you come to our school?" Liu Beichun leaned against the chair and said, "I didn't want to. My old man insisted that I have to attend classes and study at the company at the same time, so I had no choice but to stay. I had originally planned to go to a school in America, but now it's ruined." Gu Jingyan said, "You're just sad that you can't pick up foreign girls." "Humph." Liu Beichun smiled and said, "Hey, you're right." Fu Chenxi couldn't say anything and just watched from the side. Gu Jingyan said, "Oh yeah, let me introduce you. This is Liu Beichun. Anyway, we'll be classmates in the future. You'll know once you get to know him." Fu Chenxi looked at the two of them carefully and said, "You've known each other for a long time." Liu Beichun said, "Of course. I've even seen her in open crotch pants." Gu Jingyan's face turned red. She picked up a pillow and threw it at his face. "Hey, don't talk nonsense. When I was wearing open crotch pants, did you already sew your pants?" "Humph, we seem to be the same age." Liu Beichun was hit, but he couldn't stop laughing. "Seriously, it's just a joke. But have I really seen it before?" "Go to hell. How would I remember?" Fu Chenxi looked at the two of them enviously. She felt that they were really close. Liu Beichun laughed and looked at Gu Jingyan. He really couldn't imagine what she looked like in open crotch pants. Gu Jingyan said, "Humph, I didn't expect that after so many years, you've become more and more indecent." Yes, you're indecent. "Ah, you really can't drink too much. I'm going to pee." He jumped and flipped off the chair. His movements were skillful and extraordinarily dashing. Fu Chenxi was shocked when she saw that. After he jumped off the chair, he landed safely on the ground and even snapped his fingers coolly. Then, he sloppily walked to the washroom. Fu Chenxi patted her chest and said, "Are you very close, Jingyan?" Gu Jingyan shook her head. "I'm not familiar with him. Our families have been friends for generations, but we haven't seen each other for a long time. When he was young, he attended classes at home, while I attended classes outside. That's why we haven't seen each other. Fu Chenxi said, "Oh, seeing how you guys talk so casually, I thought you guys were very close. I'm sure he's heard his name often, but he's a very friendly person. In fact, it was also because people like them were still a minority and they more or less appreciated each other. After all, if outsiders were to see their daily lives, they would definitely either be amazed, envious, or careful with their words, or full of flattery. As time passed, no one could tell whose words were true and which were false. On the contrary, there was no need for them to lie to each other, and there was no need for them to be afraid of each other. Instead, they spoke very sincerely, and the feeling of being together was naturally much more comfortable. At this moment, while the two of them were talking, they didn't know that someone had already noticed the two little girls in school uniforms. A man suddenly sat down beside Gu Jingyan. "Io, little girl, skipping school?" Fu Chenxi was startled. Gu Jingyan looked over disdainfully and saw a hooligan covered in tattoos sitting at the side with a greedy look on his face. "Why aren't you studying properly? Which school are you from? Look at this uniform. I remember that it's from a famous school. Quick, call me Big Brother, or I'll go and tell your school teacher." As he spoke, he was already getting closer and closer. Gu Jingyan narrowed her eyes and looked at him. "Hey, stay away from me." She moved back a little. However, the hooligan moved back in an instant. Gu Jingyan became impatient. "I'm warning you again." "Io, I'm so scared." Fu Chenxi was already frightened and quickly said, "Jingyan, let's go first." When the hooligan heard this, he looked at Gu Jingyan. "Jingyan, that name sounds pretty good." He moved his face closer to hers. When Liu Beichen came out, he saw this scene. The hooligan's face shamelessly moved closer to Gu Jingyan's side, his face full of evil intentions. The next moment, a hand had already grabbed the hooligan's collar. The hooligan was still dreaming of picking up girls when he was pulled up. Sigh. He raised his head and saw that Liu Bei-chun, this fair-skinned young man, was actually looking at him with a sharp expression. It was not just a little overbearing. He immediately turned hostile. "Hey, you dare to touch my collar." A hand struck out, but Liu Bei-chun cleverly dodged it. He looked at the hooligan who had missed. "There's nothing that I don't dare to touch." The hooligan was startled, looking at this unbridled young man. "Little guy, your hair hasn't even grown out yet, and you're trying to act like a hero here. Be careful that I don't beat you up until you look for your teeth all over the floor." "Huh, I think you should look for your teeth first." As soon as Liu Bei-chun's voice fell, a fist had already been thrown out. In an instant, it hit the hooligan's front teeth. The hooligan cried out, "Ouch." He covered his face and fell to the ground. In an instant, the bar security guard and the person that the hooligan knew walked over together. "Ouch, it hurts so much. You actually dare to hit me. Fuck, don't you know who I am? Liu Bei-chun harumph, you? I don't care who you are. Hey, what are you all standing there for? Get him." A few people rushed over. Gu Jingyan saw that the situation was not good and quickly stood up. "Hey, what are you guys doing? Do you want to fight? Who's the manager here? If you fight, we'll call the police." The hooligan looked at Gu Jingyan and harumphed. "Why? Do you want your boyfriend to not get beaten up?" "Boyfriend?" Gu Jingyan was stunned and looked at Liu Beichen again. She was being teased by a man, and he came out to hit her. It was indeed easy to misunderstand. But this was not the time to explain. Gu Jingyan harumphed. "What? I'll really call the police." The hooligan said, "It's easy to not get beaten up. Come over and kiss me, then I'll let him go." Gu Jingyan frowned. Liu Bei-chun was even more furious. "Huh, can't you see where your face is? Kiss you? Wait for my fist to come and give you a good kiss." With that, Liu Bei-chun was about to rush over. Gu Jingyan quickly blocked him. There were too many people. He would be at a disadvantage if he went over. But the hooligan had already rushed over. Looking at Gu Jingyan, he did not give up and wanted to grab her first. Liu Bei-chun's face darkened. Just as he was about to rush over, Gu Jingyan grabbed the hooligan's wrist and flipped him over. The hooligan did not know what was going on. He was already knocked to the ground by a seemingly weak girl. Liu Bei-chun was even more stunned. He blinked and looked at Gu Jingyan. Wow, I couldn't tell. Gu Jingyan did not have time to say anything else because the others had already rushed over when they saw that she had knocked the hooligan down. Gu Jingyan reached out and grabbed Liu Bei Chen's arm and ran away. What are you looking at? Hurry up and leave. You're going to get beaten up. Chapter 14:20. The two of them ran past the crowd. Fu Chenxi covered her mouth and screamed as she watched from behind. Jingyan, wait for me. Gu Jingyan pulled Liu Beichen and ran out. Hey, where's your car? How would I know where the doorman parked it? Hurry up and find it. Just then, Liu Beichen glanced at the doorman. Hey, where's my car? The doorman was stunned. Oh, over there. As soon as he finished speaking, he saw that the people behind him had already caught up. Oh, what's going on? The two of them ran to the car. Gu Jingyan opened the door and jumped in. Liu Beichen hurried to catch up. Just then, Gu Jingyan remembered Fu Chenxi. Hey, where's Chenxi? Who? Fu Chenxi, Gu Jingyan called out. She got out of the car and saw that a few men had already pulled Fu Chenxi out. Gu Jingyan's expression changed. Fu Chenxi's face was pale as she looked at them. She screamed in fear, Jingyan. The men immediately harumphed. Hurry up and get down. You still want to run? If you want to run, then run. Don't even think about keeping this girl. Gu Jingyan quickly got down. Hey, don't be so shameless. We're still students. Behind them, the hooligan who had just been thrown out came out. His body was hurting from the fall, and he had even lost 2 front teeth. Huh, now you say we're students. Why didn't you say we were your students when you threw me? Liu Beichen harumphed. Hey, I'm telling you, you'd better let her go. Otherwise, if you anger me, I can't guarantee that I'll knock out all your remaining teeth. Gu Jingyan quickly said, Hey, watch carefully. Chenxi is still over there. Liu Beichen said, I'd like to see what they can do to her. Ha, you think we won't dare to do anything? Kids are so naive. The man in front of him had a ferocious look on his face. Come, strip her naked for me. Tear off all her clothes. After he said that, Fu Chenxi's legs turned to jelly. Ah, Jingyan, save me, save me. Liu Beichen looked sideways. Gu Jingyan bit her lower lip angrily. He narrowed his eyes. What yours truly despises the most are people like you who bully girls for no reason. After saying that, he kicked out horizontally. Before Fu Chenxi could react, Liu Beichen had already grabbed her hand. With a sidestep, he held her waist with one hand and kicked out with the other. The man who was grabbing her was kicked to the ground, and Fu Chenxi fell into his arms. While she was stunned, the faint fragrance on his body had already seeped into her heart and lungs. She looked at his perfect side profile, and for a moment, she felt like she was the heroine in a novel, being saved by the young man. Looking at it from such a close distance, she felt this guy is so handsome. It was as if there were no blind spots. Every angle was so handsome, so extraordinary, so ostentatious. Her heart couldn't stop pounding. For a moment, she seemed to have forgotten what kind of situation she was in. On the other side, Gu Jingyan couldn't care less about Fu Chenxi. When she saw that a fight had started, her scalp tightened. But there was no point in running now. Then he could only come on instantly. Gu Jingyan dashed over. With a roundhouse kick and a scissor kick, she got rid of the man who was holding Liu Beichen. Then she looked at Liu Beichen. His movements were smooth and skillful. Before long, the man was lying on the ground. At this moment, the police arrived at the end of the fight. Ah, the police. They're hitting people. They're hitting people. A few wailing men crawled towards the police. After a moment, at the police station, how would you guys hit people? The police looked at Gu Jingyan and Liu Beichen. Gu Jingyan said, Hey, they were the ones who hit us. We were fighting back. Liu Beichen didn't say anything. The police said, They hit you? Why didn't you take a look at them and still hit you? Gu Jingyan was on the verge of breaking down. You can't treat them as victims just because they're injured. Anyway, we've already reported this matter to your school. Students nowadays, you're from a prestigious school, but I didn't expect you to be like this. Reported it to the school? Wouldn't that be the end? At this moment, the lawyer is here to pick up 2 people. Outside, the lawyer hurried over. Young master, this must be Miss Gu. I'm here. You're finally here. I'm about to be annoyed to death by these people. Liu Beichun said to the lawyer. When the people at the police station saw this lawyer, if they knew him, wasn't this Panda Zhuang who had caused a sensation in the country with his economic crime case? Why? Why was he here to deal with a fight between students? Yes, yes, yes. Young master, I'm late. Please come with me. The few police officers were a little stunned. When they got outside, they saw that it wasn't just the lawyer who had come. And Lu Qinyu. He was dressed in a suit and walked down aggressively. When he saw Liu Beichun, he didn't say anything but went up to him and slapped him. You rascal, you've just started class and you're already skipping class. You even came out to fight. You. Liu Qinyu's slap wasn't light, but Liu Beichun seemed to be used to it. He just pursed his lips. Gu Jingyan looked on awkwardly. She really didn't know what to say. At this moment, Liu Qinyu also saw her. Hey, Jingyan, long time no see. He looked at Gu Jingyan. Gu Jingyan could only lower her head and greet him obediently. Uncle Liu. Liu Qinyu looked at her pitifully and said, I don't know how this rascal ended up in your class. Look at him, he's already a bad influence on you. You even came to the police station because of him. Seriously, I'll teach him a lesson when I get back. Don't worry. If you're worried that he'll affect your studies, I'll transfer him right away. When Liu Beichun heard this, he couldn't help but say, Dad, why didn't you ask clearly? What do you mean by I'm a bad influence on him? Half of these people were beaten up by him. She was even more ruthless than me. The moment Gu Jingyan heard this, she glared at him and stepped on his foot with all her might. When Liu Qinyu looked at Liu Beichun, his loving expression immediately shrank. Bastard, Jingyan is such an obedient girl. How could she hit someone? Don't push the blame away. I'll deal with you when I get back. Humph. Gu Jingyan wanted to laugh, but she held it in. She looked at Liu Beichun's defeated expression and was in a good mood. She thought about it and said something for him. Uncle Liu, it's okay. He doesn't need to transfer schools. He just needs to be obedient in the future. Liu Qinyu immediately smiled and said, my Jingyan is so obedient, well-educated, gentle, and virtuous. Why didn't I give birth to such an obedient daughter like you? Instead, I gave birth to such a rascal. Chapter 14:21. What did he mean by being obedient? Liu Beichun looked at his father, who was acting as if Gu Jingyan was his biological son. He was furious. Why did it seem like whatever Gu Jingyan said was right, and that nothing he said mattered? Moreover, in his heart, his dad was a hot-tempered person. But when he looked at Gu Jingyan, he was as gentle as a flower. Liu Qinyu spoke for a long time before bringing the three of them out. Outside, the hooligans were still shouting. Io, it's them. They're the ones who beat us up. Io. They watched as the three of them were being led away. They hurriedly asked, Hey, where are they going? Are they going to the detention center? The police officer hit him. What detention center? They're going out. Oh, why? They beat us up. Look at how badly they beat us up. How could you? That's enough. There's so many of you, yet you're beaten up by a few students. We just asked and they said that you guys started it. It was self-defense. But, all right, shut up. Look at who that is. He's the young master of the Liu family. You deserve to be beaten up. Look at who you offended. Why are you shouting here? The few of them looked outside in a daze. What young master of the Liu family? He's a tyrant in the capital. He's been out there for a long time, understand? How would they know? After they left, Liu Qinyu said, Go, send them home. It's dangerous for girls to go out. Liu Beichun chuckled. I'm more worried about the safety of the bad guys when I meet them. Hey, how can you say that? Liu Qinyu slapped him. Liu Beichun said, Io. Gu Jingyan snickered. Fu Chenxi was still watching them quietly. Liu Beichun still wanted to send Gu Jingyan home. On the way, Liu Beichun protested angrily. My father, that's definitely true. Everyone's child is better than his own. Gu Jingyan said, I'm better than you. Hey, you seem to be feeling sorry for you. You said it as if I needed it. All right, now she realized that she really didn't need it. Liu Beichun looked at her and said, But why are you so good at punching and kicking even though you're a girl? Gu Jingyan said, Don't you know that we have a training camp? Oh, I know. Are the Gu family's security guards all from the training camp? Liu Beichun asked. Gu Jingyan said, That's why we've been trained in it since we were young. Although I'm not as good as my eldest brother and second brother, and I'm not as good as those security guards, I'm sure I can beat these gangsters. Liu Beichun shook his head and said, "You girls are so violent. You're really not feminine at all. You're completely tomboyish." "Hey, but I'm in the police station because of you," Liu Beichun said. Gu Jingyan could tell right from wrong. She knew that he was doing this for her. She said, "Okay, thank you." That pair of pearl-like eyes looked at him, making him feel embarrassed for a moment. Liu Beichun said, "All right, well, I was just thinking that if something were to happen to the fourth young mistress of the Gu family because of me, your family would definitely tear me apart." Gu Jingyan glared at him when she heard this. "So you still know that it's because of you? Don't go to that kind of place again." They chattered as they sent her to the Gu family's house. Gu Jingyan lived in the Gu family's old mansion. The courtyard was shockingly big. After sending Gu Jingyan off, Gu Jingyan instructed Liu Beichun, "Send her to the end. Help me send Fu Chenxi back too." When Fu Chenxi heard this, she nervously clutched the bag of her sling bag behind her. Liu Beichun then remembered that there was someone else behind them. He nodded. They were driving anyway, so it wouldn't be too far to send her back. Okay. Who asked me to bring you out today?" After Gu Jingyan went in, Liu Beichun drove Fu Chenxi back. Fu Chenxi wasn't considered pretty, but she had a delicate face. Naturally, when compared to Gu Jingyan, no woman would appear to be beautiful. But now that Gu Jingyan wasn't around, Fu Chenxi was sitting there alone shyly. She looked a little more prominent. Liu Beichun looked at her. "You're pretty close to Gu Jingyan." Fu Chenxi became even more nervous when she saw that he was talking to her. She nodded hurriedly. "Yeah, we've been together since junior high." Liu Beichun said, "Why didn't you say anything just now? I thought you weren't around." I just couldn't get in the middle of your conversation." Liu Beichun laughed. "How could that be?" Fu Chenxi smiled. She lowered her head and muttered, "My family isn't as good as yours. It's very ordinary. You'll see in a while. My house is very small, unlike Gu Jingyan's. It's as big as a castle. I guess your family is the same." Liu Beichun raised his brows. "You can say that." Fu Chenxi lowered her head even more. "So I don't know what to say, but I'm quite happy to hear you talk." When Fu Chenxi saw Gu Jingyan's house for the first time, she was really shocked. How could there be such a big place? It was like a palace, and there were so many houses inside. Gu Jingyan was like a princess living inside, and there were so many servants. Even though she had seen it a few times, Fu Chenxi was still amazed every time. But today, because of Gu Jingyan, she could actually be alone with Liu Beichun. She was really nervous now. Her palms were sweating. She lowered her head, not daring to look at his handsome face. When they reached the place, Fu Chenxi said, "This is my house." "Okay, I'm leaving. Thank you for sending me back." Fu Chenxi was too embarrassed to say that the shabby house outside was her house. Worried that he would ask too much, she quickly said and jumped out of the car. Liu Beichun looked sideways. It was indeed shabby. However, it had nothing to do with him. He would never despise her. Seeing that she had gone in, he hurriedly left. The next day, the school teacher called the three of them to the administration office. "Why did the three of you?" The teacher was speechless and helpless. Liu Beichun was the one who called them. She didn't know what to say. She could only say that Liu Beichun had brought the best student in the school to skip classes. He would be a disaster in the future. After yesterday's incident, Gu Jingyan and Liu Beichun became more familiar with each other. When they went back together, they could see that everyone was looking at them. Chapter 1422. How come Gu Jingyan is with Liu Beichun? You're too lowly. They were together yesterday, and they even skipped class together. Wow, that's shocking. Did they get together as soon as they arrived? Liu Beichun is too fast. Well, he's rich. Didn't you see that the principal welcomed him personally when he transferred here? He's just a high school student, and he even drove a Ferrari into the school. Have you ever seen such a cool student? Although there were many rich people in the school, they still respected the school. After all, it was a famous school in B City and even the whole country. But obviously, Liu Beichun didn't have the heart. At that moment, a few girls who heard the conversation gathered together. "What? Liu Beichun just arrived, and he's already with Gu Jingyan? No way. Why would he like a nerd like Gu Jingyan? One of the girls next to them protested. All right, Gu Jingyan is quite pretty too. The girl in the middle looked much prettier and fresher than the girls next to her. She was none other than Cheng Naixin, the campus belle who had been respected as soon as she entered the school. Her family was a businessman, so she had a lot of money. She was also quite pretty. Gu Jingyan was too low-key and cold, so everyone focused their attention on her, who was more beautiful, cheerful, and easygoing. There had been many people pursuing her, and they had never stopped. Each of them was fiercer than the last, but she had never promised anyone. She only told everyone that she hoped they could get along well and study hard. She didn't want these things to affect their studies. Everyone felt that she was a nice person. Even when she rejected someone, she was still so gentle. As a result, she gained more and more followers. Hearing what she said, one of her followers said disdainfully, Gu Jingyan is such a country bumpkin. She's not as elegant as our Naixin. She's not as pretty as you. And she's a blockhead who only knows how to study. Look, there aren't many people chasing after her, but so many are chasing after you. Exactly. You're our campus belle. She's nothing. Everyone's eyes are more accurate. Everyone thinks you're pretty. Otherwise, why would they call you the campus belle? Although Cheng Naixin's heart was already blooming, she still looked calm. I really don't know what's wrong with Liu Beichun's eye. It must be because he transferred to Gu Jingyan's class and was arranged to sit next to Gu Jingyan, so Naixin hasn't seen him yet. Otherwise, Liu Beichun would belong to Naixin. Cheng Naixin's face was red. Aya, don't talk nonsense. I didn't say I was going to do anything with him, although he does look like a nice guy. No, Liu Beichun is the best match for you. He's not worthy of anyone else. Only you are worthy of Liu Beichun, and only Liu Beichun is worthy of our carnation. Carnation, if you don't want to go, we'll go for you. Hey, you guys. Liu Beichun sat down. He saw a girl standing in front of him. Liu Beichun frowned when he saw that it was a girl whom he didn't recognize. The girl placed a cup of water in front of him and said, Liu Beichun, this is a gift from our Naixin. Remember to drink it. Who is it? Liu Beichun frowned. Cheng Naixin, she said. Liu Beichun crossed his legs and said, Oh, I don't know her. The girl looked at him in surprise. Liu Beichun, you transferred to number 1 middle school, but you don't know Naixin? Liu Beichun sneered. Oh, is she famous? Do I have to know her? Of course, she's our school belle. Oh, Liu Beichun drawled and chuckled. Sorry, I'm not interested. Hey, you. The girl was about to say something when the bell rang for class. The girl looked at it and could only leave unwillingly. At the side, Gu Jingyan had heard their conversation. At this moment, she looked at the cup of water. It seemed to be some kind of hot water in it. It looked warm. She said, Oh, the school belle is confessing to you. Liu Beichun pushed the cup aside. Lame. He looked sideways at Gu Jingyan. Hey, why aren't you the school belle? Gu Jingyan laughed. Why am I the school belle? Liu Beichun said they're so blind. You're the 4th daughter of the Gu family. Hey, I told you to shut up and stop giving me trouble. Gu Jingyan flipped open her book. She's the acknowledged school belle. It has nothing to do with her background. Liu Beichun's interest was piqued. You want to know which girl could be called the school belle other than Gu Jingyan? Was there really a girl prettier than Gu Jingyan? Although he didn't think Gu Jingyan was a woman, he couldn't deny her beauty. Just look at her third brother. He was so young, but he had already made a name for himself in the entertainment industry and was liked by so many girls. He knew that the Gu family's genes were not just for show. After class, he asked the boy next to him, Where's the girl called Cheng Naixin? Oh, Naixin, I'll take you there. Everyone knew who Cheng Naixin was. They eagerly took Liu Beichun to see her. On the other side, Cheng Naixin's boyfriend was still angry. He said that Liu Beichun didn't know their Naixin. The next moment, someone brought Liu Beichun over. Ah, Liu Beichun. Oh my God, look. I knew it. He couldn't be uninterested in Naixin. That's right. He must have been so cold because it wasn't Naixin. Look, he's here. Cheng Naixin raised her head and glanced at Liu Beichun. She was already amazed by him. He was so handsome. Moreover, his aura was no longer that of a normal high school student. He was not even that of the rich heirs in the school. Cheng Naixin blushed. Her heart skipped a beat when she saw Liu Beichun walking over. Ah, he's here. Liu Beichun walked up to them with his hands in his pockets. He looked outside and saw the girl that she was pretty. He had to admit that she was fair and had good skin. However, to his disappointment, he felt that he could not be compared to Gu Jingyan at all. How could she be the school belle? Were these people blind? Liu Beichun looked at her and lost interest. He shook his head and walked away. The girls who were cheering a moment ago were shocked. Sigh, why did he leave just like that? He was just here to say a few words. Cheng Naixin's heart, which had just been in her throat, calmed down. She didn't know why her face didn't freeze. Chapter 1423. After Liu Beichun left, someone said indignantly, "What's wrong with Liu Beichun? He came to take a look and then left. He didn't even come to say anything." Someone comforted her. "I think Liu Beichun came to take a look first. He'll come and get to know her officially after he's confirmed it." "Is that so?" "Of course. He wouldn't have come if he wasn't interested. Moreover, Liu Beichun is different from others. He's the young master of the Liu family. He's a proud person. He wouldn't say anything directly." Cheng Naixin felt that what they said made sense. She regained her composure and said, "Forget it. I told you to let nature take its course. It's not necessary. No, you guys have to be together. Naixin, even if you don't fight for it, we'll fight for it for you. That's right. You guys are the most compatible." Everyone said that. Cheng Naixin's eyes lit up. Who wouldn't want to be with Liu Beichun? When Liu Beichun said that he was going to transfer to this school, she knew about it. She couldn't help but look forward to it. When she was in this school, her family said that there were many rich people here. If she could hook up with one of them, she would have hope in her next life. On the other side, Liu Beichun went back. Gu Jingyan said, "Where did you go?" "Oh, I want to take a look." Gu Jingyan smiled. "Why? Did you go to see the campus belle?" Liu Beichun looked at her. "How did you know?" Gu Jingyan looked up and said, "People look at you everywhere you go. The moment you left the classroom, someone said that you left the classroom and went to another class. Then, someone said that you went to the campus belle's class. I said, if you want to see the campus belle, why don't you just say it?" They were so disdainful just now. Liu Beichun didn't expect that people would spread it like it was a piece of news after he took a few steps. These people were too bored. So what? I just want to see what the so-called campus belle looks like. "Oh, how do you feel now that you've seen it?" "Sigh, I can only say that these people are blind. There's nothing I can do." Gu Jingyan shook her head. "Is it because you're arrogant?" "That's true. You're young Master Liu. You've seen all kinds of beautiful women. She's from a humble family, so she's definitely not your cup of tea. All right, hurry up and get ready. The military training will begin in a few days." "Military training?" "Yeah. How long has it been since school started?" "It's only been a little more than a month, but it was too hot at the beginning of the semester. The school was worried that we would be too hot, so they postponed it for a month. You came at the right time." Duh. The day of military training soon arrived. For the past few days, all classes have been suspended for military training. Early in the morning, the school was filled with people in green camouflage uniforms. Gu Jingyan and Fu Chenxi arrived early. Soon, everyone had arrived. They began to warm up, and the military training officially began. However, Fu Chenxi realized that Liu Beichun was not there yet. If Liu Beichun isn't here yet, the instructor will be angry. Their instructor looked fierce, and he shouted at them the moment he arrived. The girls in the class were all frightened. Fu Chenxi was so frightened that she didn't dare to make a single mistake. She stood up straight. Gu Jingyan looked around and said, "Who knows where he went? Let's wait and see." Just as she said that, they heard the rumbling sound of an engine. In an instant, a bright red Ferrari appeared out of thin air outside the field. Liu Beichun didn't even have time to put on his camouflage uniform, so he just slung it over his shoulder. He was wearing a light blue and white outfit, and he barged into the field. Wow, Liu Beichun is here. He's so handsome. Liu Beichun's car is so cool. He's so young, and he can already drive such a good car. His driving skills look so good too. The instructor looked at Liu Beichun, who had caused such a mess in the class. Everyone was no longer standing in their military posture, and they were just staring at the handsome guy. He felt even more disdainful. Wasn't he just a rich young master? He was really pampered and had never experienced any hardship before. Liu Bei-chun jumped over to them. "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm late." The instructor looked at him from head to toe. Although Liu Bei-chun was only a high school student, he was already more than 8 meters tall. His body looked slender like a teenager, and he didn't look like a burly adult. "If you want to drink milk, go home and drink it. This is not a nursery, and I won't give anyone face, so—" He snorted. "Don't think that you have special privileges. We have special privileges here every day. You're dressed like this, and you're still late. Heh, if you want to attract attention, you can't do it this way. Do you really think that you're special? Now, stand in military posture under the sun for 4 hours, and you're not allowed to come back until you're done. 2 hours of military posture under the sun." Everyone looked at Liu Bei-chun sympathetically. Liu Bei-chun narrowed his eyes and looked at the instructor. "Although I'm sorry that I'm late, what do you mean by this is not a nursery? What do you mean by you're a rich young master?" Liu Bei-chun retorted. Everyone was shocked. He was actually going to argue with the instructor. Liu Bei-chun had gone overboard with his words. It wasn't a big deal to be scolded, but his biased and disdainful words made people feel uncomfortable. Liu Bei-chun wasn't someone who could tolerate it. The instructor could understand this. He snorted, "There's no nanny here to feed you." "What? You're saying that you're late?" "I'm late because I'm late, but it has nothing to do with me being spoiled. I just think that military training is a little childish. It's just standing in military posture and taking big steps. It's boring." "Huh? You're saying it's boring?" The instructor said, "It's the basics of being a soldier. We've all been through this, from being able to stand in military posture to being on the battlefield. What do you know?" Liu Bei-chun said, "That's enough. The battlefield doesn't rely on words. I've already said that I'm not interested in this. If you're unhappy, we can have a duel. The one who wins has the right to speak." The instructor furrowed his brows, but he didn't think that a spoiled young master would be capable of anything, especially when he saw Liu Bei-chun driving around in his luxurious car. He knew that he was a weakling who only knew how to flaunt his wealth to attract attention. They had seen their fair share of spoiled brats, so they looked down on Liu Bei-chun. "Huh? You want to compete with me? What do you want to compete with? Fighting? I know that you like to fight at your age, but you have to understand that a fight between us is different from a street fight." Liu Bei-chun said, "You can come at me. I'll listen to you." Chapter 1424. The instructor sneered coldly. His attitude towards him was even more disdainful. "All right, you can act cool now. Don't cry later." The other instructors had already turned to look at him. Of course, they were still on their side. Seeing that Liu Bei-chun, a young boy, dared to provoke them as soldiers, they immediately gathered together. The school wanted to stop him, but Liu Bei-chun glanced at the teacher behind him and pushed him aside. "Let's make it clear then. We won't compete for nothing. What are you going to do if you lose?" he said. The instructor harumphed. "Lose? What if you lose?" "If I lose, I can apologize to you, beg for mercy, stand in a military stance, and do whatever you say." "All right, what if you lose?" The instructor looked at him. "You're talking about me?" "Yeah, what if you lose?" "Heh, if I lose, you can do whatever you want." The instructor rushed over and said, "Sai, what's there to compete for? Just focus on your training." Liu Bei-chun said, "Instructor, don't worry. I won't bully you. It's a fair competition. I won't hurt anyone." The instructor's face turned red when he heard that. He was furious. This brat really deserved a lesson. I'll help your parents teach you a lesson." "You'll help my parents teach me a lesson? Why don't you see if you're qualified?" Liu Bei-chun flung his shirt over his shoulder. The instructor's face turned even redder. The entire school was in an uproar over this matter. Liu Bei-chun was going to be taught a lesson for provoking the instructor. Liu Bei-chun was going to be scolded by the instructor for being late and acting tough. Everyone at this age was still afraid of the instructors. Moreover, they had been intimidated by the instructor when they first arrived. They felt that the instructor must be very powerful and a soldier. He must be very powerful. As for Liu Bei-chun, indeed, he was very rich, but he might not be capable. He was just an ordinary high school student. How could he compete with those adults who trained every day? Everyone gathered around to watch the show. What were they competing for? I heard they're going to compete in mixed martial arts. Isn't Liu Beichun going to be beaten to death? I heard that Liu Beichun is very good at fighting. That's a fight between kids. How can it be compared to those who are trained in Sanda? Everyone felt that Liu Beichun's acting had reached its limit, and he shouldn't have let his emotions get the better of him. However, at this time, everyone had already gathered around, waiting for the two of them to compete. Liu Beichun turned around and saw Gu Jingyan. Catch! He threw the clothes to Gu Jingyan. Everyone looked at Gu Jingyan enviously. They all felt that she was lucky to have been assigned to be Liu Beichun's desk mate by the teacher. That was how she got to know Liu Beichun, and they seemed to be on good terms. Gu Jingyan just looked at Liu Beichun. Hey, are you okay? Liu Beichun gave her an okay gesture and raised his eyebrows with a smile. Fu Chenxi was very worried. Jingyan, will Liu Beichun get beaten up? Gu Jingyan said, he looks pretty confident. Let's wait and see. He should be good at fighting. Although Gu Jingyan had only met him when he was young, she knew a little about the Liu family. She knew that although the Liu family was not as good as the Gu family in terms of security, they also provided all-round development for their children from a young age. These basic abilities should not be left behind. At this moment, wow, it's starting. Liu Beichun, you can do it. Instructor, you can do it. There were girls cheering for Liu Beichun crazily. Naturally, there were also people who were not convinced by Liu Beichun and cheered for the instructor. They were waiting for Liu Beichun to be embarrassed. At this moment, the instructor was playing with his knuckles, making a cracking sound. He curled his lips and looked at Liu Beichun with a smug smile. All right, let's start. Don't worry, I will be careful and not hurt you. Let's stop here. Liu Beichun snorted coldly. All right, I will say the same to you. Just as he finished speaking, the instructor's fist had already rushed towards him. He said that he would not hurt Liu Beichun, but his fist still flew towards Liu Beichun's face. Ah! The girls below screamed. Liu Beichun's good-looking face was about to be punched, but unexpectedly, Liu Beichun dodged to the side. Before the crowd could see what had happened, Liu Beichun had already dodged the punch. What was even more surprising was that he grabbed the fist that was coming at him. The instructor thought that he had been hit by a sharp gaze. He had never thought that a kid could have such a sharp and cold gaze. Moreover, his hand was so strong that he had grabbed his fist. He wanted to take it back, but he realized that he could not move at all. At the back, the people who were watching were shocked. The instructor was thrown to the ground by Liu Beichun. The instructor got up and tried to punch him again, but he was thrown to the ground by Liu Beichun again. The instructor got up again, but before he could do anything, he was thrown to the ground again. The girls below the stage went crazy. They cheered and jumped up, shouting, Liu Beichun, you're so awesome. Wow, Liu Beichun is so awesome. Why does Liu Beichun know everything? He's so awesome. Fu Chenxi, who had been covering her eyes, opened her eyes wide. Wow, Liu Beichun is so awesome. Gu Jingyan had seen too many of them. She did not think that Liu Beichun was that awesome. He was just a bunch of ordinary people. Even though there were some hedonistic sons among the rich families, the Liu family and the Gu family were not like that. Even though they were arrogant, they were very strict with their children's education. Moreover, they had a lot of resources to teach their children. Hence, it was natural that Liu Beichun knew a lot of things. It was just that ordinary people did not know about it. At this moment, the instructors were embarrassed when they saw that their men had been thrown to the ground by a kid. They surrounded them. Wow, what are they going to do? Are they going to beat him up? One of the girls retreated in fear. Liu Beichun stood in the middle, looking at them. Why? Do you want to come with me together? Let's go then. The instructors gritted their teeth in anger, especially when they saw his arrogant expression. At this moment, Gu Jingyan quickly stepped forward. All right, you can't bully him. There's nothing to be proud of if we beat him with so many people. Everyone looked at Gu Jingyan in surprise. She was really daring to go over at this moment. Of course, there were also people who said disdainfully, look at how well he behaves. When he sees that Liu Beichun is surrounded, hurry up and go over. This is how he goes to join in the fun with the rich. You guys should learn from him. So what? How can Liu Beichun like a bookworm like her? However, to everyone's surprise, Liu Beichun looked at Gu Jingyan and smiled. He said teasingly, "Why? Are you worried about me?" Chapter 14:25. Gu Jingyan looked at him and pushed his head. "Are you stupid? Why did you come here to fight?" Liu Beichen said, "I just don't like them. They think that people like us are useless and that we're just living off women." Gu Jingyan said, "It's your fault for being so showy." Liu Beichen said, "I'm rich. Why do I have to hide it? It's like it's something shameful. My family's money came from a legitimate source, not from a scam. Why should I be looked down upon?" Liu Beichen raised his hand and stood at the top. "Students, I've won today. I'll treat everyone to a meal. Let's all go." When the students heard that, they thought that he was going to treat them to a meal. That was too generous. However, they were naturally happy to be able to eat, so they immediately cheered. For a moment, the training ground instantly became a boiling ocean. Gu Jingyan wanted to say something, but she was drowned out by the screams of the students. She could only look at Liu Beichen and shake her head helplessly. Meanwhile, the instructors were watching them. No matter how arrogant they couldn't go against so many students. Moreover, they had indeed lost. No one would have thought that this seemingly frail little kid would be so powerful. Liu Beichen jumped down amidst the cheers of the students. The school looked at this arrogant man, but couldn't do anything about him. After all, he was Liu Beichen. They could only blame themselves for welcoming Liu Beichen the moment they heard that he was going to study here. They hadn't thought about what he would bring to the school. Liu Beichen was a man of his word. That night, they prepared a meal in a big restaurant and welcomed all the students who came with their school badges. It was the first time for many students to eat at such a place. They suddenly felt that this place was really high-end. How much does it cost to eat here? And there's so many people here. Will Liu Beichen go bankrupt? Forget it. He won't go bankrupt even if the whole country comes to eat here. What do you think the Liu family does? Liu Beichen is so awesome. He's so handsome and so rich. When Gu Jingyan arrived, she realized that they were right next to the Gu Corporation's hotel. However, that was a hotel for accommodation, while this was a big restaurant for meals. She walked over speechlessly, worried that the Liu family's staff at the door would recognize her. After all, outsiders might not know, but the insiders might have seen her before. As expected, as soon as he arrived, someone greeted him. "Gu. Shu." Gu Jingyan hurriedly made a gesture. She glared at the student who was walking past her and walked in by herself. The people at the door felt strange. Wasn't this Miss Gu? Why did she look so strange? At this time, Gu Jingyan walked in, but she couldn't find the right place. As she followed the crowd in, she felt that she was suddenly pushed to the side by someone. He raised his head to look. They were probably the school belle Carnation's followers. They all looked up at her with unfriendly expressions. Gu Jingyan didn't think that she had offended them in the past. They had minded their own business. Why did they come to her now? "What are you doing?" Gu Jingyan asked. The few of them sized up Gu Jingyan. "Hey, who allowed you to come here?" "That's right. Who allowed you to come here?" Gu Jingyan laughed. "Liu Beichen is treating us. I can come whenever I want. It's not your treat." Today is our Carnation and Liu Beichen's day. Get out. Don't come in." Gu Jingyan blinked. What Carnation and Liu Beichen's day? Liu Beichen was with Carnation? Why hadn't she heard Liu Beichen mention it? The few of them just didn't want Gu Jingyan to go in. Because Carnation would be dressed up beautifully today, they didn't want Gu Jingyan to be involved. That way, without Gu Jingyan, Liu Beichen would definitely only have his eyes on Carnation. Otherwise, Gu Jingyan would definitely cause trouble here. Of course you don't know. Carnation is the school belle. Only she is worthy of Liu Beichen. Who do you think you are? How dare you steal our Carnation's man? Sigh. She hadn't heard anyone scold her for a long time. Who do you think you are? Since when did I steal your Carnation's man? Gu Jingyan didn't even know. Why would she steal Liu Beichen? They weren't related at all. They were just close friends when they were young. The few of them snorted. Don't try to deny it. The teacher arranged for him to be next to you, and you hugged him on the first day. You even tried to please him after that, because you wanted to be a couple with him. Humph! Don't think that just because you're close to him, you can get him first. Liu Beichen won't be interested in you. That's right. Look at yourself. How can you compare to our Carnation? If you hadn't dominated Liu Beichen and prevented him from seeing our carnation, they would have been together a long time ago. It's you. You purposely prevented Liu Beichen from leaving your class just so that you can get him and become a phoenix. There's so many people like you in this school. Their families aren't as good as our carnations, so they just want to study hard and seduce those rich kids. Don't think that we don't know about it. Gu Jingyan wanted to laugh. Why would she need to seduce rich kids? Moreover, they were too good at making up stories. They made it sound like they really knew about it. I'm not interested in fighting for a man with your carnation. Move aside and let me in. Gu Jingyan raised her head. Although she was low-key, it didn't mean that she, the fourth daughter of the Gu family, would be bullied by a few girls. No, get out. We won't let you in today. Let's see who's not afraid of death to stop me. Gu Jingyan said as she was about to enter. The few of them immediately rushed over. They were originally hooligans in the school, and their families had some money, so they spent a lot of money to get them in. As soon as they arrived at the school, they were taken in by Cheng Naixin. It had to be said that this Cheng Naixin also had some tricks up her sleeve, especially in terms of buying people's hearts. Ever since junior high school, they had been doing campus violence and bullying female students. Many people who had opposed them had been taken to the toilet and rooftop by them. They had humiliated them, stripped them naked, and taken photos of them. They had forced them to leave school. They had done all of these things. Hence, they were not afraid of Gu Jingyan at all. There was no other reason for girls to fight. They just relied on the fact that they had more people and came up to fight. The one with fewer people bullied the one with more people. At this moment, they came over as usual. However, unexpectedly, Gu Jingyan kicked one of them in the leg. The force of the kick made the person kneel on the ground. Chapter 1426. Gu Jingyan then made a mistake and directly stepped on the other one. She used the back of her knees to fix the other person in her crotch. That was exactly what Liu Beichen saw when he arrived. She had beaten up the girls all by herself, and they were wailing on the floor. Someone shouted, Liu Beichen is here. The girls quickly shouted, Liu Beichen, look, Gu Jingyan is beating them up. It hurts. Gu Jingyan, are you a woman? How could you be so cruel? You must have used some weird trick. What weapon are you carrying? Everyone shouted at the same time. Liu Beichen had heard from the servants that Gu Jingyan had come, but was not allowed to enter. He had come out to have a look, but when he came out, the girls had already been dealt with. Liu Beichen thought that it was easy to feel defeated when he was with Gu Jingyan. This woman was a little weak. She would settle things by herself. What was the use of having a man? No wonder no one wanted to date her despite her fairy-like looks. Liu Beichen walked over. What's the matter? The girls quickly said, Gu Jingyan is bullying us. She won't let us in. That's right. Gu Jingyan said that you are hers. She wants to have you and become the young madam of the Liu family. This is her only chance, so she won't let us get close to you. Liu Beichen looked at them, lying through their teeth. It was impossible that Gu Jingyan had said that. Of course, they did not know Gu Jingyan's identity. Otherwise, they would have realized how unreliable their words were. Even if the fourth miss of the Gu family was very violent and did not have any femininity, if she wanted a man, there would be plenty of men coming to her door. Why would she need to rely on him to make a comeback? He looked at them, amused. Gu Jingyan had already stood up and walked over. Unexpectedly, before she could say anything, she heard a weak voice in the hall. Oh my God, what are you doing? She turned around and saw Cheng Naixin. Moreover, she was wearing a tight-fitting dress, which completely revealed her curvaceous figure. Since everyone was here to eat, they would have long changed out of their school uniforms and put on their own clothes. Therefore, the people who came were also wearing all sorts of clothes. However, most of the students' clothes were still very simple. Half-sleeved, denim, and skirts were rare. Furthermore, they were wearing such feminine skirts. Cheng Naixin was quite precocious. At such a young age, she already had curves. Her figure was not bad. No wonder she dared to wear it. She appeared here all of a sudden. With so many female students without makeup, she appeared even more unique, beautiful, and full of flavor. Her followers, who were watching from below, were all stunned. Cheng Naixin looked at Liu Beichen weakly. Her eyes were brimming with tears, and she looked like she was about to cry. Liu Beichun, I'm sorry. Maybe they're just messing around. But we're all classmates. Let's not fight. A gentleman doesn't resort to words. Can't we talk nicely? Her follower was extremely touched. Naixin, don't plead for us. Don't be implicated by us. We could take a beating, but don't get too close to this kind of woman. Cheng Naixin walked over. Liu Beichun looked at her from head to toe. He watched as she walked gracefully towards him. Even her gait was perfect. However, Gu Jingyan looked at Liu Beichun. She felt that he really didn't care about her. Liu Beichun thought that she was dressed nicely. She was very eye-catching among the group of female students. However, he had seen too many women like her. Liu Beichun had attended all sorts of events since he was a child. He had seen many celebrities who were more feminine than Cheng Naixin, and many who were prettier than her. So, Liu Beichun was not attracted to Cheng Naixin at all when she was dressed like this. Liu Beichun just looked at her and said to Gu Jingyan, "What's going on? Will you stop by them?" Gu Jingyan patted her hands. "It's okay. The process isn't important. You saw the result. Why? Are you worried about me? That's why you rushed here." Gu Jingyan said, mimicking his manner in the morning. Liu Beichun laughed. "I'm worried about others. You think I don't know you? There's nothing to worry about." Cheng Naixin's face froze again. She saw that he only glanced at her and then went on to chat with Gu Jingyan. Gu Jingyan was still talking to Liu Beichun so casually. Gu Jingyan said, "That's it then. Let's go. I'm tired." Then they didn't do anything to me anyway. "All right, it's your fault for being so careless. Let's go. I'll take you to eat something good." Liu Beichun walked in with her. He only glanced at Cheng Naixin and said, "I'll leave this to you." Cheng Naixin looked at the group of people and then at the two of them. The people below stood up one after another. Actually, they had only been knocked down. Gu Jingyan didn't hit them too hard. How dare Gu Jingyan talk to Liu Beichun like that? Gu Jingyan is so bold. But Liu Beichun isn't angry. He's even smiling at her. What's going on? Who knows if Gu Jingyan is using this special method to seduce Liu Beichun? I think so too. She just wants to make herself look special. Cheng Naixin listened and said, "All right, don't do this next time. Violence can't solve anything. You guys got dragged into it and got beaten up. That's not good." Hearing Cheng Naixin's words, everyone turned around and looked at her in amazement. "Wow, Naixin, you're so beautiful today. You're definitely the most beautiful woman in the world. Yeah, let's go in and show Liu Beichun how many men are crazy about you." Cheng Naixin's face was red. She reluctantly pushed her way in. And inside, wow, Cheng Naixin is here. When the guys saw Cheng Naixin walk in, they were all stunned. Looking at her beautiful figure, their hormones were ignited. Wow, Cheng Naixin is indeed the campus belle. She's so charming. She's so beautiful. She's like a goddess. If she could just look at me, I'd feel like I'm flying. Everyone was talking at once. Gu Jingyan stayed with Liu Beichun and looked outside. Cheng Naixin's arrival had caused a huge reaction. Gu Jingyan said, "Tisk tsk. Why don't you look at her? She's really beautiful." Liu Beichun said, "Why are you looking at her? I don't think she's beautiful." "Really? Is there something wrong with your eyes? I think she's pretty today." "Forget it. A woman doesn't become a goddess just because she shows her chest." "Sigh, but you're right. Your chest is so small. It's like you haven't developed yet. That's why you think she's pretty, because she has big breasts." Hearing him say that, Gu Jingyan's face turned red. She looked at Liu Beichun again. He was looking at her chest as if he was measuring it with his eyes. Chapter 14:27. "Haha, it's bigger than yours." Gu Jingyan turned her head away immediately. Liu Beichun laughed. "If it's not as big as mine, you should really go to a doctor to have your gender checked." "Get lost, Liu Beichun. You've changed. Why are you so mean now?" Gu Jingyan attacked him immediately. Liu Beichun retreated with a laugh, but he didn't fight back even though her fists landed on his body. It didn't hurt anyway. It was just a joke. The two of them fought as if there was no one else around. The others were even more shocked. They were amazed by the two of them. They wondered when Gu Jingyan had become so close to Liu Beichun. Some of them didn't even bother to look at Cheng Naixin. They just watched the two of them laugh and fight. Liu Beichun felt uncomfortable from her beating. He quickly picked up a strawberry and threw it into her mouth. All right. Eat something to calm down. Humph. You want to treat me to a feast to calm down? Okay. What do you want to eat? Treat me to something expensive next time. Despicable. You're so vain. I'm happy to be vain. Cheng Naixin felt that Liu Beichun didn't even look at her when she was in such a state. Seeing the boys around her start to fawn over her, she was a little satisfied at first. Everyone was scrambling to get something for her. They surrounded her as if they wanted to take out their hearts and give it to her. However, in the most eye-catching place, that man, he did not pay the slightest bit of attention to her. She was liked by so many people, loved by so many people, but he actually did not notice her. How could Cheng Naixin believe that? She gritted her teeth. She thought that he couldn't possibly not be interested in her, since she was so pretty. There must be a reason. After thinking about it, she felt that she had to do something more direct. He must be too proud. Everyone liked her, and he didn't want to snatch her away. Soon, she saw her followers arrive. Her eyes lit up. She walked over and said to them, I've thought of an idea, but I don't think it's good. I don't know if I should do it. What idea? Seeing Cheng Naixin's embarrassment, the others said hurriedly, Hurry up. We can't let Liu Beichun be cheated by Gu Jingyan. We have to get him by any means. They were just beaten up by Gu Jingyan, so they were still angry. After a while, although Liu Beichun was treating, he acted as if it had nothing to do with him as he continued to eat his own food. Until in the middle, someone came to thank him. Student Liu, you've treated us to a meal as soon as you arrived. We're really grateful. Without further ado, let's toast you with tea instead of wine. Liu Beichun smiled and said, Sure. Everyone eat and drink well. Liu Beichun tilted his head back and drank the drink in his glass. Only then did the man leave. In a moment, those who needed to disperse were ready to disperse. Liu Beichun also prepared to return. Do you need a ride? He asked Gu Jingyan. Gu Jingyan shook her head and walked with Fu Chenxi. My family will pick you up in a while. All right then, I'll be leaving first. Since the Gu clan was here, there was no need for him to interfere. After Liu Beichun went out, he was about to drive. He saw Cheng Naixin walking over. Young Master Liu. She walked over and said, Is it on the way? I want to go back. Can you give me a ride? Liu Beichun wasn't an unreasonable person, so he said, Get in. Cheng Naixin was delighted and quickly got into the car. It was a Ferrari sports car with a convertible top. It was really cool to sit in. The people next to them looked at Liu Beichun and then at Naixin. Their gazes were suggestive, and someone even whistled to tease them. Cheng Naixin's face turned red as she watched, but she was very excited inside. The car started immediately. Cheng Naixin looked at Liu Beichun. She only felt that his side profile was a little arrogant, which was very attractive. That arrogant temperament, with a bit of evil, really made people love him to no end. This kind of naughty boy was easy to be interested in. He was expressionless as he focused on driving. The car sped up. He only asked her where they were going and didn't say anything else. Cheng Naixin could only steal glances at him from time to time. Then Liu Beichun suddenly felt that something was wrong. He suddenly slammed on the brakes. Cheng Naixin was startled. Seeing that his expression wasn't right, she was delighted. Was it acting up? She looked at him with concern. What's wrong, Liu Beichun? Is there a problem? Let me take a look. You don't look too good. Are you sick? Cheng Naixin's hand reached out, and her body moved closer as well. The two voluptuous breasts in front of him looked very tempting. Liu Beichun felt uncomfortable. Looking at the thing that was moving closer, he almost couldn't help but grab it. What was wrong with him? Cheng Naixin was able to help him. Seeing that his gaze was different, she was delighted and moved closer. She said in a misty voice, What's wrong with you, Liu Beichun? Don't scare me. Why do you keep staring at me? I'm embarrassed. She pretended to hold her chest. But then Liu Beichun was in a daze. Suddenly, he felt that something was wrong with him. Although he wasn't a good person, he had never treated a woman like this. He suddenly felt that something was wrong. Could it be that he had eaten something bad? Although he was still young, he was born into a family like this, so he knew more than others. He pushed away Cheng Naixin, who had come over to him. He opened the door and got out of the car. Hey, Liu Beichun, what's wrong? Just as Chung Naixin was about to lean on him, she was pushed away. For a moment, she was even more shocked. Liu Beichun picked up the phone. Gu Jingyan, come here. I'm not right. What? What's wrong? Gu Jingyan was still on her way home. Come here and help me. Liu Beichun couldn't stand it anymore. He rubbed his forehead and sat down. Chung Naixin hurried over to him. Liu Beichun, what's wrong with you? Liu Beichun looked at the woman who was getting closer and closer. Stay away from me. Stay away from me. On the other side, Gu Jingyan looked at the phone. What's wrong with him? Blinking her eyes, she was worried. She thought for a moment and said to the chauffeur, We're going back to look for Liu Beichun. The chauffeur said, Miss, look for young Master Liu? Where is young Master Liu? Where was he? She didn't know. She didn't ask him where he was going when they parted. I heard voices just now. He should be on the road, but I don't know where he is. Go and activate the secret guards to look for him. I think he's in danger now. I have to find him as soon as possible. She had no choice but to use the Gu family's power. Chapter 1428. The Gu Clan's Shadow Clan was indeed very efficient. After a while, they received news that they had seen young Master Liu on Zhengnan Street. Chung Naixin looked at Liu Beichun worriedly. Young Master Liu, how are you? Let me take a look at you. She clung to him with all her might, wanting to get something from his body. Young Master Liu, do you want me to help you? She caressed him with her slender hands. Don't move, let me help you. Liu Beichun was about to lose consciousness, so he didn't know what she was doing. He only felt something moving through his body, making him feel even more thirsty. His throat felt like it was going to smoke. At this moment, Chung Naixin took the opportunity to press herself even closer to him. She felt as though she was about to become the young madam of the Liu family the moment she got close to him. Her heart leaped with joy, and she couldn't help but start thumping. Come, I'm coming. I'll feel better soon. Come, let's go to the car. She wanted to help him up, but he was really heavy when he was in a daze. She couldn't help him up. After much effort, she managed to help him up. But before she could take 2 steps, young Master Liu is here. A few people walked over. Chung Naixin was shocked. She looked up and saw a few people walking over. They were dressed in suits and looked very intimidating. You guys, what's wrong with young Master Liu? They pushed Chung Naixin away. I think he was drugged. What? Behind them, Gu Jingyan, who had just gotten out of the car, heard the Gu family security and walked over quickly. You. Chung Naixin looked at Gu Jingyan as though she had seen a ghost. How did she get out of that luxurious car? Gu Jingyan, on the other hand, glanced at her and walked towards Liu Beichun. Chung Naixin shouted, Hey, what are you doing? Why was Gu Jingyan here all of a sudden? Was it Liu Beichun's call? Why would Liu Beichun call her? But even if Liu Beichun called, he didn't tell her where he was. How did Gu Jingyan find him so quickly? Chung Naixin looked at Gu Jingyan and said, He's just a little confused. Leave him to me. She took a look at the people behind Gu Jingyan. They must be Liu Beichun's men. Did Gu Jingyan go to the Liu family to cause trouble? That woman was really despicable. Gu Jingyan snorted. She had heard what the security guards had said. Do you think Liu Beichun will be unscathed? You didn't eat it, right? The word eat was enunciated very clearly. Chung Naixin was a little embarrassed at first, but when she saw that Liu Beichun was in a daze, she became very arrogant. Whether we eat or not, it's between the two of us. You don't have to interfere. This was such a rare opportunity. If she let Liu Beichun leave with Gu Jingyan, it would be too easy for her. The medicine was not easy to find. She had spent a lot of money asking someone to give it to him. Gu Jingyan said, What if I have to intervene? Chung Naixin looked at the people behind her and then at her. Gu Jingyan, you even called the Liu family over. Do you really think that you're the mistress of the Liu family? The Liu family? Gu Jingyan looked at the luxury car behind her and the security guards who were following them. She knew that she had misunderstood. Gu Jingyan raised an eyebrow and smiled. It's not too late if you leave now. Otherwise, don't blame me if something happens to you. Chung Naixin said, If I leave, I'll let you have Liu Beichun. I'm not that stupid. If I don't leave, don't even think about taking Liu Beichun away. That's not up to you. Gu Jingyan waved her hand, and the people behind her immediately dragged Liu Beichun out of the room. Hey, you can't move. Your young master is sick. He has to stay here. I can help. Don't be fooled by Gu Jingyan. She's a liar. She must be lying. Listen to me. Gu Jingyan sneered. I'd like to see which one of them will listen to you. You. Cheng Naixin did not see the move at all. As members of the Liu family, how can you listen to a wild girl's orders? Are you trying to kill Liu Beichun? Gu Jingyan said, You're mistaken. They're my people. What? At this moment, the people from the Liu family finally arrived. Gu Jingyan immediately informed the Liu family, but she was worried that something might happen, so she rushed over first. At this moment, the people from the Liu family finally arrived. When they saw Gu Jingyan, they immediately bowed respectfully and said, Miss Minglan, thank you for informing us. Our young master. Oh, your young master is fine here, but he doesn't look well, Gu Jingyan said. When they saw their young master, they hurried over in fright and helped him up. Young master. Cheng Naixin was a little surprised. You. What are you doing? Who are you? This is our young master. Who are you? The Liu family's people sized up Cheng Naixin and said. Cheng Naixin looked at Gu Jingyan and her people in surprise. Then these people are? The Liu family's people said. You don't know this is Miss Gu? Ha, of course not. Do you think anyone can find out where our young master is? Thanks to Miss Minglan's help, we found him quickly. Otherwise, our young master would have been killed without us knowing. The people looked at Gu Jingyan respectfully as she flattered her. Cheng Naixin's heart skipped a beat. What did she mean? The luxury car behind them belonged to Gu Jingyan and not Liu Beichun. These people belonged to Gu Jingyan too? Gu Jingyan snorted and looked at her. I told you, I'm different from you. I'm not interested in using dirty tricks to kidnap a man. Cheng Naixin's face turned red when she heard Gu Jingyan's straightforward words. When the Liu family's people heard this, they also said, Kidnap a man? Are you talking about Miss Gu and our young master? Why would Miss Minglan need to kidnap a man? Our young master will definitely like you. Look at how compatible the two of you are. It's our young master's honor to be with Miss Minglan. Ah, no. It's more important that the two of you are in love with each other. Miss Minglan, are you really with our young master? What was going on? Gu Jingyan saw that the servants had misunderstood her. She quickly said, That's not what I meant. I mean, forget it. Hurry up and take him away. I think your young master is going to die soon. The people looked at her and realized that they had forgotten about their young master because they were so focused on flattering Gu Jingyan. Luckily, Liu Beichun was still in a daze and probably couldn't hear what they were saying. Otherwise, he would have gone mad with anger. Chapter 1429. Cheng Naixin looked at Gu Jingyan. You are. It doesn't matter who I am. What's important is that I don't want to fight with you for your man. Don't bring your own thoughts into it when you think of someone else. It's very childish. Duh. Cheng Naixin was agitated, but she looked at Gu Jingyan and didn't dare to say anything. Looking at the people behind her, she thought about it. Fourth mistress of the Gu family, and the Liu family were all sucking up to her. The Gu family? She was shocked and looked at Gu Jingyan in disbelief. She was the mistress of the Gu family? How was that possible? Why didn't anyone know that she was the mistress of the Gu family? Gu Jingyan said, All right, it's over. Let's go. Gu Jingyan gave the order lightly, then looked at Cheng Naixin and snorted. Cheng Naixin couldn't believe it and didn't want to believe it. Gu Jingyan was actually the mistress of the Gu family. Why? She was naturally very jealous. She looked at Gu Jingyan and thought that she was the one who had ruined her plan today. She looked at Gu Jingyan and scolded her impulsively. So what if you're the young mistress of the Gu family? I think you're quite good at seducing Liu Beichun. Gu Jingyan turned around. What did you say? She narrowed her eyes and looked at Cheng Naixin. Cheng Naixin's heart skipped a beat. Isn't it? Isn't it? Everyone in No. 1 middle school knows who threw herself at Liu Beichun as soon as she arrived. Huh? Do you think everyone's like you? Gu Jingyan said directly. I don't need Liu Beichun throwing himself at me. If I did, I could ask my family to propose marriage and the Liu family would definitely not reject me. Unfortunately, I've known Liu Beichen since I was young, and we're just friends. I'm not interested in him because I don't need him and the Liu family's wealth to gain anything. Gu Jingyan looked at Cheng Naixin fiercely. Cheng Naixin's face turned even redder. Although Gu Jingyan kept a low profile, she could be extremely merciless when she was unforgiving. She had always looked down on Cheng Naixin, especially after she had done such a thing. Gu Jingyan said arrogantly, "What else do you want? Go on, but I advise you to shut up. You've offended me. Although I'm not a talkative person, I'm a vengeful person. If you apologize to me now, I might pretend that nothing happened. Otherwise, what else could he do?" Cheng Naixin looked at her angrily, but there was nothing she could do. Not to mention that she was all alone now. Even if she had a group of people behind her, no one would dare to go against the Gu family. Cheng Naixin had always treated Gu Jingyan as a thorn in her side. Although she had become the campus belle, everyone said that it was because Gu Jingyan didn't want to fight for it. Gu Jingyan, on the other hand, had already become an influential figure as soon as she arrived at school. She was the top student in her studies and was admitted to #1 middle school. She was only a few marks away from getting full marks in all subjects. In addition, people had noticed that she was also very beautiful when she arrived. How could there be such a perfect person? Cheng Naixin's studies were not very good, and she was forced to enter the school by her father. She was jealous of Gu Jingyan, who became known by the whole school as soon as she arrived. Wherever she went, people would say, "Look, that's Gu Jingyan." Later on, she also became such a person, but it was because of her beauty. Needless to say, when people talked about her, they always doubted her. I want to apologize to you." "Ah, fine. I remember that your family owns some Chung Group car dealership, right? If you don't apologize now, ask your family to go to school tomorrow to apologize." Gu Jingyan didn't want to waste any more time. She turned around and got into the car. What do you mean?" Cheng Naixin was still shouting. But the next day, she knew what it meant. The Chung Group car dealership was closed because of tax problems. The next day, Gu Jingyan saw Liu Beichen and teased him. "Shouldn't you be thanking me yesterday? It was because of me that you didn't lose your virginity." Liu Beichen was still angry when he thought about it. "Shut up. Ha! You were almost kidnapped, and you're too embarrassed to say it. Get lost." "Okay, is this how you treat your savior?" Liu Beichen was speechless. He was still angry. Okay. Then I'll treat you to lunch as a thank you. Okay? That's more like it." Gu Jingyan smiled proudly. She picked up her phone and searched for good food nearby. As she looked, she said, "Then I'll look for the most expensive one." Childish. I'm childish. Scratch me if you dare. Looking at this arrogant woman, Liu Beichen felt very helpless. The two of them went to a Western restaurant that Gu Jingyan had chosen for lunch. She didn't like Western food at first, but it was expensive. She only wanted the most expensive one, not the best, so she chose this high-end Western restaurant. When the Western restaurant staff saw the two people in school uniforms coming in for lunch, they were a little surprised. "The minimum charge here is 5,000 yuan. The staff reminded them first. Gu Jingyan said, "The minimum charge here is 5,000 yuan? No way. I clearly chose the most expensive one." The staff thought that Gu Jingyan was bragging, but Liu Beichen had already slammed the black card on the table. When the staff saw the black card with a wireless credit limit, they immediately knew that they had said the wrong thing. It seemed that these two were rich second-generation heirs, and very rich second-generation heirs at that. The staff quickly went to get the menu. Soon, Cheng Naixin's family arrived. Cheng Naixin's father looked at the two children and hurried over to say, "Miss Gu, young Master Liu, I brought Naixin here to apologize. Naixin is uneducated and offended you too. We've already taught her a lesson. I hope you can be magnanimous." Dad, looking at her father, who was already an adult, being so submissive to two students in school uniforms, and more importantly, the shop assistants beside them were looking at them curiously, she felt really embarrassed. But there was nothing she could do. Liu Beichen really felt disgusted and embarrassed just looking at Cheng Naixin. He said bluntly, "Who asked you to come here? All right, I can't be bothered to see you. Don't ruin my appetite." Gu Jingyan said, "All right, you said you're apologizing, but I haven't heard student Chung say a word of apology. Is this really an apology? Upon hearing this, Chung Naixin's father quickly pulled her over. Hurry up and apologize to Miss Gu and young Master Lu. Although Chung Naixin was unwilling, she could only lower her head and apologize. What else could she say when even her father was so submissive? She could only look at the two of them with even more jealousy. She thought to herself, indeed, people with money, status, and a good family background have such privileges. I'm sorry, it's my fault. I hope you can forgive me. Upon hearing this, Gu Jingyan let it go. She couldn't be bothered to say anything more to them. She waved her hand and said, "All right, we're going to eat. You can leave now." Upon hearing this, Chung Naixin's father quickly said, "Yes, yes, yes. Please enjoy your meal. We won't disturb Miss and young Master Lu anymore." As he left, he sighed, "Look at the children of rich families. They're so different. They're so imposing even when they're out to eat. Naixin, you have to be more careful. You can offend anyone." Chung Naixin felt even worse upon hearing this. Chapter 1430. The military training ended quickly. Because of what Liu Beichen had done, the instructor had been replaced by someone else from the army. Nothing happened after that. On the last day of field training, everyone carried their equipment and walked up the mountain. They planned to go around the mountain at the back and camp by the lake for the night. Then they would return to school the next day. Because it was a famous school, their military training equipment was very high-end. All the preparations for military training were very comprehensive. Because the parents were also very worried and there were many rich young masters among the students, the school was also very worried that something might happen to them, so they were very strict. Gu Jingyan was in the same group as Liu Beichen and Fu Chenxi. Liu Beichen carried the heaviest bag, and Gu Jingyan carried one too. Only Fu Chenxi's bag was the smallest. Fu Chenxi said embarrassedly, "I think I should share more of the burden. I'll feel embarrassed." Gu Jingyan said, "Forget it. You're so small, and you still have to carry things. You should just walk on your own path." Fu Chenxi said, "But you're still so skinny. You're carrying so much." Gu Jingyan said, "When I was training at home, I also carried weights. At that time, the things I carried were more than 40 kilograms. It was much heavier than this." "Ah, you're all rich young masters and mistresses. Why do you still have to work so hard?" Fu Chenxi said. Gu Jingyan said, "It doesn't mean that young masters and young ladies don't have to do anything. Sometimes the family is stricter. I'm still fine because I'm a girl. My family doesn't expect me to inherit the position of the head of the family. My eldest and second brothers have been working in a company since they were young. They have to attend classes while working. They're extremely tired. They have to learn all kinds of things. They don't have a single moment to rest." Fu Chenxi sighed. "I didn't expect rich people to be so troublesome." Liu Beichen said, "You make it sound like it's something special." Fu Chenxi smiled at Liu Beichen. "I don't know. My family is so ordinary. You saw it last time. It's very small and run down." Liu Beichen said, "Then what does your family do?" My father sells vegetables. He buys vegetables at the market in the morning." Fu Chenxi felt even more embarrassed when she said this. She felt that she was really poor, stupid, and didn't know anything. Her family was so ordinary. Liu Beichen said, "Speaking of which, I've never been to the market before." Fu Chenxi said with a smile, "Why would you young misses and young masters go to that place? That place is very dirty and filled with trash. It's not that exaggerated. Bring me there next time." Fu Chenxi looked at Liu Beichen, and Liu Beichen looked back at her, smiling happily. The few of them started their journey. Along the way, Fu Chenxi really couldn't take it anymore after a while. "I'm so tired. Aren't you guys tired?" Fu Chenxi looked at the two of them in surprise. Gu Jingyan said, "You lack exercise. Come on, practice breathing. You won't be so tired if you practice breathing." Actually, when Gu Jingyan and Liu Beichen walked to the front, Fu Chenxi really couldn't take it. This was because the two of them had especially good stamina and were much stronger than ordinary students. Behind them, many people began to complain that they were tired, but the two of them were fine. Fu Chenxi tried her best to follow the two of them. She looked at Gu Jingyan and felt that she was really perfect. She could do everything well, while she was too ordinary. She didn't want to be a burden, so she kept walking. Unexpectedly, because of a moment of carelessness, she twisted her leg. Ouch, it hurts. Fu Qinxi squatted on the ground. Gu Jingyan quickly looked at her. Are you okay? I don't know what happened, but it hurts. She pulled Fu Qinxi's leg and looked at it. There was a big swollen area. It's so swollen. It looks like it was twisted. Ah, then what should I do? Gu Jingyan smiled at Liu Beichun. Carry it. Liu Beichun said, what? Why? Can't you carry it? Didn't you say that you're good at carrying weights? Don't tell me you want me to carry it. Gu Jingyan deliberately provoked Liu Beichun. Liu Beichun laughed. Who said that? Okay, I'll do it. As if I can't carry it. Fu Qinxi blushed. Can I? But I. All right, do it. I'm worried that his body can't take it. Look, Liu Beichun, Fu Qinxi feels the same as me. She thinks that you can't carry it. Hey, I'll show you. Liu Beichun patted his shoulder and asked Fu Qinxi to carry it. Fu Qinxi had no choice but to climb up. Her face was so red that she didn't dare to look at anyone. It was her first time touching a man's body. Fu Qinxi was shy and excited, especially when she thought that this man was Liu Beichun. Gu Jingyan giggled as she watched. Liu Beichun couldn't stand it, but he felt that Gu Jingyan's smug look was really annoying. When they reached their destination, everyone started to set up the tent. Liu Beichun saw that Fu Qinxi didn't know how to do it, so he went over to help. Why are you so stupid? Fu Qinxi said softly. I'm just stupid. I'm not as smart as Jingyan. I'm not as good at studying as her. I'm not as knowledgeable as her. Liu Beichun said, so what? You're just like that. That's why I'm speechless. You're so headstrong in everything. Really? Liu Beichun shook his head and pouted. Fu Qinxi said, no, I'm really envious of her. Liu Beichun looked at Fu Qinxi and Fu Qinxi looked back at him. Instantly, her face turned red. Gu Jingyan didn't know that after one night, Fu Qinxi had become Liu Beichun's girlfriend the next day. Because Liu Beichun looked at Fu Qinxi and asked, why don't you be my girlfriend? Fu Qinxi was stunned for a long time. What did you say? Liu Beichun said, I'll just say it once. I know you heard it. Do you agree or disagree? Just say it. Dot. Fu Qinxi's face was as red as blood. She lowered her head and agreed. Okay, then I'll take it as you agree. Just like that, Fu Qinxi became Liu Beichun's girlfriend. The next day, they went back to school. After the military training, they rested for a few days. When they came back, Gu Jingyan entered the school early in the morning and saw Liu Beichun and Fu Qinxi getting out of the car together. It was Liu Beichun's coquettish Ferrari. Gu Jingyan walked over and called out, Hey, why are you here together? Fu Qinxi turned around. When she saw Gu Jingyan, she blushed and lowered her head, not daring to look at her. Gu Jingyan said, what a coincidence to bump into each other. Liu Beichun smiled and put his arm around Fu Qinxi's shoulder. Gu Jingyan was stunned. She couldn't react for a while. Fu Qinxi and Liu Beichun. They were together? After a long time, Gu Jingyan finally came to her senses. She looked at Fu Qinxi and said, Aya, when did this happen? Why didn't you tell me? Chapter 1431. After class, Gu Jingyan pulled Fu Qinxi to a stop. What's going on? Fu Qinxi could only lower her head and tell her what had happened. Gu Jingyan smiled and looked at Fu Qinxi. I couldn't tell that he had feelings for you. Fu Qinxi raised her head, looking terrified and uneasy. I feel that there's a huge gap between us. He's the young master of the Liu family, while my family sells vegetables. I feel that compared to him, I'm really too insignificant. Gu Jingyan said, all right, that's nothing. You're thinking too much. What huge gap? What status in the family? What do you think you're talking about? But, all right, there's no more buts. Isn't it more important that two people love each other and want to be together? Fu Qinxi looked at her, her face full of joy. Really? After that, the group of three became a group of two. And when Gu Jingyan was bored, she could only immerse herself in her studies. 2 months had passed, and she was still the #1 student in the school rankings. She would occasionally see Liu Beichun and Fu Qinxi together, but she didn't want to disturb them, so she stayed far away from them. On this day, Gu Jingyan was going to participate in the English competition and was reading words in a corner. Just then, a few people came to Gu Jingyan's side. Gu Jingyan. Gu Jingyan raised her head and saw a few familiar men. "What are you doing? Take this." A letter in a yellow envelope was handed to her. Gu Jingyan was stunned. It was a love letter. Gu Jingyan looked at them, and one of them said, "What are you looking at? We're not giving it to you. It's from our boss. Hurry up and take a look. You have to get one back tomorrow." Only then did Gu Jingyan realize who these people were. Every school had some dark forces. They were those who didn't study well and liked to cause trouble. They were the core members of the biggest gang in number 1 middle school. They liked to gather in the corridors and tease female students after class. She had seen them a few times, so she knew. And their boss was Fong Zun, who was known as the big brother of number 1 middle school. He was tall and strong, and dressed very coolly. Whenever he was free, he would be surrounded by a group of people. Usually, he was very conspicuous. How could Gu Jingyan not know him? Reply to Ong tomorrow afternoon. We will go to your class to get it. What? Gu Jingyan chuckled. No need. I'm not interested in this kind of thing. Gu Jingyan handed the envelope to them and turned to leave. Hey you. Gu Jingyan was amused. Had she met a suitor? In the afternoon, Gu Jingyan was still reading in the classroom. When Liu Beichen came back, she didn't bother to talk to him. Because he was with Fu Chenxi, Gu Jingyan had already arranged for them to sit together. Liu Beichen glanced at Fu Chenxi and returned to his seat. Unexpectedly, at this moment, at the entrance, a person holding a large bouquet of flowers appeared in front of everyone. When everyone saw this, they were all very curious. In front of everyone, the man walked up to Gu Jingyan. Liu Beichen was also surprised. He looked up at the bouquet of flowers and placed it on Gu Jingyan's table. Gu Jingyan raised her head and frowned. What? It's a gift from our boss. When everyone saw this, they started discussing among themselves. Isn't their boss Fong Zun? It can't be. The boss of number 1 middle school is wooing Gu Jingyan now? Wow, this is big news. Liu Beichen had already heard these discussions. He couldn't help but feel a little uncomfortable. What boss? What kind of boss was there in number 1 middle school? Gu Jingyan looked at it. Take it back. I said that I'm not interested. That won't do. We can't take back what our boss has given us. Gu Jingyan said straightforwardly, I'm sorry. I'm really not interested. Hey, you're lucky that our boss is wooing you. Our boss is the boss of number 1 middle school. With his protection, you can do whatever you want to know. 1 middle school. Gu Jingyan laughed. Wow, that's impressive. It's a pity that I don't want to do whatever I want. You. The few of them looked at each other. Seeing that it was almost time for class, they could only leave. Anyway, it's here. Take it. After they left, the class became even more noisy. Everyone felt that it was so romantic to give flowers. They looked at the flowers. It was such a big bouquet of roses. It had to be worth a few dollars. A normal student definitely wouldn't be able to afford it. Some people even harumphed in jealousy. Gu Jingyan is just good at studying. How could Fong Zun like her? Gu Jingyan didn't care. She looked at the bouquet of flowers. Others might think that this kind of flower was rare, but she didn't care about it at all. There were many rare flowers in the garden at home. These roses were nothing. She threw the flowers into the dustbin. Wow, Gu Jingyan is so arrogant. She didn't want the flowers. She threw them into the bin. She's the best at studying. She's arrogant. At night, Gu Jingyan walked out of the school alone. Gu Jingyan. A man blocked her way. I heard that you didn't care about my flowers and threw them into the bin. It was Fong Zun. Gu Jingyan raised her head and looked at him. She raised her eyebrows. What is it? Fong Zun said, Hey, what do you think? Now that you've offended me, let me tell you. Either you agree to be my girlfriend now, or we won't let this go. Gu Jingyan looked at him speechlessly. She curled her lips and smiled disdainfully. What do you mean we won't let this go? What do you want? I, Fong Zun, will get whoever I want. What do you think I want? He looked at Gu Jingyan suggestively. The school bell was Chung Naixin, but she transferred schools for some reason. After that, everyone felt that Gu Jingyan was actually much prettier than Chung Naixin. She liked to wear bright red dresses. This kind of dress would look very gaudy on most people, but when it was worn by Gu Jingyan, it was pure and stunning. It made her look even more flamboyant and exquisite. People who looked at her would naturally fall in love with her. Fong Zun looked at her from head to toe. At such a close distance, he felt that he wanted her even more. He had never seen a woman prettier than her. At this moment, behind them, Liu Beichun, who was walking over with Fu Qinxi, saw them immediately. Gu Jingyan was surrounded by a few people. Among them, there was a tall man who was looking at Gu Jingyan aggressively. Liu Beichun's eyes moved. What's going on? Fu Qinxi looked at them and was so shocked that she quickly grabbed Liu Beichun's arm. Those people are so powerful. What are you going to do? Liu Beichun said. What are they saying to Gu Jingyan? Let's tell the teacher. Don't go over, Fu Qinxi said. Chapter 1432. Liu Beichun looked over and said, Don't worry, they're just a few hooligans. Why should we be afraid of them? But the danger. Fu Qinxi failed to pull her back. Liu Beichun was already in front of them. Hey, you guys are surrounding a girl. Aren't you embarrassed? They paused and turned around. When they saw Liu Beichun, their eyes flickered. Fong Zun knew that he couldn't afford to offend Liu Beichun. He blinked and said, Hey, you have your own girlfriend. Don't be a hero to another woman. Liu Beichun had already walked over carelessly. What does having a girlfriend have to do with helping Gu Jingyan? I just can't stand seeing so many people surrounding a girl. Fong Zun glanced at Gu Jingyan and said, I'm not surrounding her. I'm wooing her. This has nothing to do with you, right? Liu Beichun looked at Gu Jingyan and asked, Do you agree to his courtship? Of course. Gu Jingyan shook her head. I don't agree. Liu Beichun smiled with satisfaction. He knew that the fourth daughter of the Gu family would never fall for a hooligan like Fong Zun. Gu Jingyan was the one who had wasted her life. Hey, you're it too. She said she doesn't like you. You can leave now. Fong Zun's face turned red. If you don't like her, that's why you're pursuing her. If you like her, then we'll be together. Anyway, this is between the two of us. It has nothing to do with you. Hey, that's your little girlfriend, right? If you don't move away, I can't guarantee that I won't make a move. Liu Beichun snorted and said, You want to hurt my people? Do you even have the ability to do so? Fong Zun glared at her. Of course, he couldn't back down in front of a beauty. Well done. Fong Zun moved right away. However, Liu Beichun wasn't a pushover either. He took the punch and punched back. Unfortunately, this time, Fong Zun held a lot of people, and the school was originally his territory. While they were fighting, the hooligans under him immediately gathered over. Liu Beichun was outnumbered. Although he was not completely at a disadvantage, it was normal for him to suffer a few blows. On the other side, Fu Qinxi was really scared out of her wits. She hid there and didn't dare to move. But at this moment, the police are here. Someone shouted from outside, and the police rushed over. Liu Beichun, who had just been kicked to the ground, looked up and saw someone in uniform. He muttered, You're quite fast this time. He saw that Gu Jingyan was with him. So it was her. She had already called the police when she saw that something was wrong. Gu Jingyan spotted Liu Beichun lying on the ground. Although the other side was in a miserable state, Liu Beichun was not in a good state either. His handsome face was bruised after being punched. Liu Beichun. Gu Jingyan rushed over to help. What happened? You got hit. She helped Liu Beichun up. Ouch! Liu Beichun exclaimed. He stood up and rubbed his cheek. It's okay. They're worse off. On the other side, there were many people sprawled on the ground. Fong Zun's face was also covered in bruises. He was in a much worse state than Liu Beichun. But Gu Jingyan's heart skipped a beat. She looked at Liu Beichun deeply. All right, let's go to the infirmary first. She helped Liu Beichun forward. Liu Beichun looked at Gu Jingyan from head to toe. He hadn't paid much attention to this woman in the past 2 months. Now that he looked at her, she was even more beautiful and flamboyant. It was as if something had seeped through her skin and kept on bursting out. Her skin was as fair as snow, and her cheeks were even more exquisite. 17 or 18 years old was the age when people started to change. No matter how low-key Gu Jingyan was, her genes were still there. Liu Beichun just felt that Gu Jingyan looked even more beautiful than before. He said disdainfully, Why do you have to be so flamboyant for no reason? You've caused trouble. Gu Jingyan looked at him. What did I do? Are you still blaming me? He asked for it. If you hadn't been so flamboyant, how would he have noticed you? Sigh. I'm happy to be flamboyant, but just because I'm flamboyant, does that mean he can come and find trouble with me? You make it sound like it's normal for someone to rape me if I take off my clothes. Even if I'm naked, if someone forces me against my will, it's still considered rape. Do you understand? Huh, you have a good mouth. I won't care about you in the future. Huh, who needs you to care? Beichun Jingyan. At this moment, Fu Chenxi walked over. Gu Jingyan looked at Fu Chenxi and let go of Liu Beichun's hand. She smiled and said, "All right, I'll leave him to you." Liu Beichun looked at her. Was she pushing him to someone else? Hey, Gu Jingyan, I got beaten up because of you. Why are you running away? Gu Jingyan turned around and said, "You have a girlfriend? Do you still need me? You two can go and be lovey-dovey. I won't be a third wheel." Fu Chenxi blushed, but she looked at Gu Jingyan and then at Liu Beichun. She quickly said, "Jingyan, you haven't been hanging out with me lately. Are you unhappy?" Gu Jingyan paused and quickly waved her hand. No, why would I be unhappy? I'm just worried that I'll be a hindrance to you guys. Besides, it's too much for me to bear with you guys together. I'm a single dog. It's better for me to stay away from you guys." Fu Chenxi looked at her and lowered her head shyly. She didn't really want Gu Jingyan to be around. Actually, it was good for her and Liu Beichun to be together. Every time Gu Jingyan was around, she would feel a little nervous. Because Gu Jingyan was too perfect, she always felt that she was drowning in front of her. She was worried that Liu Beichun would see Gu Jingyan as good and feel that his girlfriend was terrible. Liu Beichun said, "How can you be so kind?" Of course. As they spoke, they reached the infirmary. Liu Beichun went to apply medicine, and Gu Jingyan left. The next day, at the school's commendation ceremony, Gu Jingyan went on stage again. She was the top student in the school. She was the top student. She was the model student. She walked up to receive her award and stood there to give a speech on behalf of the students. "Hello, everyone. I'm Gu Jingyan." The students looked at Gu Jingyan, who stood under the sun, and felt that she was very beautiful. Liu Beichun was listening to the discussions going on around him. "Gu Jingyan is so beautiful. Look, why is her skin so fair? Yeah, I tan when it's summer, but she doesn't seem to tan at all." Liu Beichun looked at Gu Jingyan. Indeed, under the sun, her skin seemed to be translucent. It was so natural and beautiful. The person next to him said, "And her face is so beautiful. And her studies are so good. Didn't you notice that the same school uniform looks different on her and on us? So it's still about looks." Chapter 1433. It wasn't just the girls who were talking about it. The boys were even more unbridled. "Look at that face. It must feel good. Her figure is curvy and her breasts are well-developed too." Liu Beichun couldn't help but look at her. Indeed, Gu Jingyan's figure was thick in the right places and thin in the right places. Her legs were slim and her breasts were firm. Liu Beichun frowned as he listened to them. What were they looking at? Fu Chenxi saw Liu Beichun's frown as she looked at them. She heard the discussions and blushed. She thought to herself, these guys are so frivolous. But when she saw Liu Beichun's expression, she looked at him worriedly. She said to Liu Beichun tentatively, "Jingyan is really pretty, isn't she?" Liu Beichun said, "What's wrong? Why do you care if she's pretty or not?" Fu Chenxi said, "Don't guys like pretty girls?" Liu Beichun said, "Guys like pretty girls, but that doesn't mean they like pretty girls." Fu Chenxi tilted her head and looked at him. "You don't like her?" Liu Beichun said no. Liu Beichun didn't have a problem with his girlfriend's looks. He had never been in a serious relationship before. Even though he had flirted with someone in the past, it didn't progress further. After all, he had too many women around him. Whenever he went out, he would be surrounded by people of all shapes and sizes. So, he was already sick of them. Fu Chenxi saw that he was quite serious, and her heart was slightly relieved. Now that she went out, everyone in the school knew that her name was Fu Chenxi and that she was Liu Beichun's girlfriend. In the past, when she was next to Gu Jingyan, everyone would naturally ignore her. It seemed that everyone knew Gu Jingyan, but no one knew that the girl next to Gu Jingyan was called Fu Chenxi. Now, because of Liu Beichun, she had actually become a famous person in the school. She looked at Liu Beichun and lowered her head secretly, smiling contentedly in her heart. Meanwhile, as soon as the class started, the teacher said, "Liu Beichun, your results this time aren't good. Gu Jingyan, from tomorrow onwards, you will help him revise at night. If you still do so badly in the next exam, both of you will be punished together." Gu Jingyan turned to look at Liu Beichun. Liu Beichun also looked at Gu Jingyan. The two of them stared at each other in disdain. Liu Beichun was too lazy to take the exam, so he didn't do well. But he didn't need Gu Jingyan to be his teacher. However, the teachers had no choice. The other party was young Master Liu, and they couldn't scold or beat him up. Hence, they could only let Gu Jingyan, who was the best student in the school, be a teacher. After class, Gu Jingyan turned around and said, "Liu Beichun, can you focus on your studies? You're wasting my time." As he spoke, he took a picture of a few exercise books. "Starting from today, you'll do 2 pages a day." Liu Beichun looked at her speechlessly. "You really want me to do it?" Gu Jingyan rolled her eyes. "If you don't do well next time, I'll be punished too, okay? Be more serious." Fu Chenxi watched from the side and said with some distress, "Beichun, why don't you learn from him?" Gu Jingyan said, That's right. Look, even Chenxi said that." Liu Beichun rolled his eyes and looked at the two girls speechlessly. Women are so troublesome. At night, Gu Jingyan brought Liu Beichun to the Liu family's house to study. In order to avoid arousing suspicion, she asked Fu Chenxi to tag along. The Liu family's house was huge, and it was Fu Chenxi's first time here. Looking at the place, she understood why the school was so afraid of the Liu family. The Liu family's house was as big as the school. Liu Beichun's room was more than 200 square meters. This wasn't something a normal family could compare to. When they entered the Liu family's house, Gu Qinyu was still there. When he saw the 3 kids enter, he noticed Gu Jingyan first. "Aya, Jingyan, why are you here?" Liu Qinyu was especially affectionate when he saw her. Gu Jingyan said, "I." She glanced at Liu Beichun. Indeed, Liu Beichun was winking at her, telling her to stop talking nonsense. Gu Jingyan smiled. "I'm here to help Liu Beichun." Liu Beichun's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. "I'm here to do homework with him." "Ah, I see. Okay. You guys go in. I'll get the helpers to cook something good for you." "Thank you, Uncle Liu." "Don't mention it. Hurry up and go in. It's hot outside." Liu Qinyu also glanced at Fu Chenxi. He just thought that she was a classmate who came to do homework with him. He didn't even ask for her name. When the helper saw Gu Jingyan, she lowered her head and bowed. "Hello, Miss Gu." Fu Chenxi was ignored. She followed Liu Beichun closely, feeling a little uncomfortable. They entered the room and studied together. Gu Jingyan answered the questions very quickly. Liu Beichun was sloppy and didn't take it seriously. Gu Jingyan couldn't help but look at him. "Hey, can you hurry up? Don't waste my time." Liu Beichun said, "Aren't I very fast? Look at your question. You didn't even take it seriously. You even answered it wrongly. Is your brain a pig's?" "Hey, Gu Jingyan, who are you calling a pig's?" "The one who answered the question wrongly is." "Gu Jingyan, I think you're tired of living." I have to call Uncle Liu. Someone wants to kill me." "Gu, Jing, Yan. What? Did I say anything wrong? You were the one who didn't examine the questions first." "I didn't want to do it. The questions are too easy. Don't use it as a token of authority. You don't want to see me, and I don't want to see you either. Why don't you do it properly next time? Then we won't have to torture each other." The two of them continued to examine the questions. After a while, Gu Jingyan exploded again. "Liu Beichun, you can't even answer such a simple question. What's wrong with your brain?" Liu Beichun was angry too. "Whose brain are you talking about?" "I'm talking about you." "So what?" "I think you're here to cause trouble. Can't you just talk nicely?" "I'm talking nicely. Did you hear me?" The two of them stood up angrily. They glared at each other as if they were about to fight. Fu Chenxi quickly stood up as well. She pressed Liu Beichun down and said to Gu Jingyan, "Don't quarrel. Can't we talk nicely? Jingyan, don't be anxious. Beichun, be serious too." Gu Jingyan said, "No wonder you can't study well. There's something wrong with your brain." "Oof. I'm better than a fierce tigress like you. You, what's wrong with me? You can't accept it? Why don't you take a look in the mirror and see how fierce you look now? No wonder you can attract a bug like Fong Zun. Gu Jingyan was so angry that her face turned red. She grabbed her bag and turned to leave. Fu Chenxi saw this and said anxiously, "Don't, Jingyan. Hey, Beichun, talk her out of it." "What's there to talk about? Let her go." Liu Beichun sat down and continued to cross his legs. Fu Chenxi bit her lip and looked down as she watched the two of them argue. Chapter 1434. Even after Gu Jingyan had left, Liu Beichun was still angry. He looked at Fu Chenxi. "How did you get along with her for so long?" Fu Chenxi said awkwardly, "Beichun, Jingyan is a good person. She treats me very well and is very loyal. You probably don't get along with her." "Haha, loyal? That's called loyal. She just does whatever she wants because she's the fourth mistress of the Gu family. She doesn't know how to tolerate others and is arrogant and complacent. All she did was get first place in school. What's wrong with that? Is being good at her studies something to be proud of? Haha, fourth Mistress Gu is too easy to satisfy. And look at her attitude just now. Beichun, at most, we'll be punished together. I'm not going to study anymore. Let's see what she can do to me." You're really not going to study? Beichun, don't be so angry. Apologize to her. Why don't I do it for you? No. Liu Beichun looked at her sternly. Fu Chenxi was speechless. She looked at him, not daring to disobey his orders. She felt a little uncomfortable as she watched him get so angry because of another girl, nagging nonstop. But on second thought, it was probably because he really didn't like Gu Jingyan. After comforting herself, she picked up the exercise book and continued to write. The next day, the school was in an uproar again. A few students had transferred to the school today. Gu Jingyan was still sitting in class reading when she heard the students shouting outside. "Wow, so handsome. What's wrong with the school recently? Why are there so many handsome guys transferring here? And they don't look like ordinary people. Their families must be pretty good too." Gu Jingyan didn't pay much attention to it. Transfers were common, especially since this was a prestigious school. It was normal for people to transfer here, but she was still doing her homework when she heard someone call out, "Ah, Gu Jingyan." Gu Jingyan looked up. Suddenly, he saw two handsome and flamboyant men at the door, and they jumped in with a happy face. Everyone turned to look at Gu Jingyan and the two men curiously. Gu Jingyan was stunned for a moment. Then, she stood up and pointed at the two of them in surprise. Why are you here?" The people who came were also the two fellows she had known since she was young, Su Zikai and Fong Shengting. One of them was called Old Su and the other was called Little Q. As soon as he entered, they immediately surrounded him. Little Q was the first to say, "We saw that Liu Beichun had turned around, so we came too. Yeah, with all of you here, it's boring for us to stay in that private school." "That's right. There aren't many beauties here. They don't look as easy to harm as here. They're all too smart." Naturally, there were many girls in the private school with good family backgrounds. It was simply a school for the nobles. Many of them went there with a goal in mind. They were very smart. Unlike here, the school was much more ordinary, and there were many students from all over the world who had passed the examinations. There were even more innocent people here. "So you came to our school with this goal in mind? You guys just transferred here? Wow, don't tell me you guys have transferred to our class." "Sigh. I wanted to, but they said that your class is an advanced class, and it's full, so we went to the class next door." Gu Jingyan rolled her eyes. "That's good. You're not here to harm me." Liu Beichun was enough to harm her. She couldn't stand these rich kids anymore. Don't tell me you think that we're interfering with your time with Liu Beichun. "Don't worry. We won't disturb you," Little Q said lazily. Gu Jingyan almost spat. She glared at him and said, "Don't you know that Liu Beichun has a girlfriend? If you dare to speak nonsense, he'll hurt you. Also, don't mention him to me. I have nothing to do with him." Gu Jingyan still hadn't forgotten how they had quarreled last night. Liu Beichun was so arrogant that he would explode after a few words. She didn't want anything to do with him. Just then, the people watching from the side were even more surprised. These two new handsome transfer students knew Gu Jingyan. Gu Jingyan really knew a lot of handsome guys. Everyone looked at Gu Jingyan with envy and jealousy. Just then, Liu Beichen arrived. Hey, Beichen. They greeted each other. Liu Beichen was a little surprised. Hey, why are you two here? We're from the same school as you. No way. Haha, you're really good at harming people. You just like Gu Jingyan said. You both despise us. The three of them started laughing. Fu Chenxi, who was watching from the side, didn't know what was going on. She just looked at them in a daze and felt a little awkward. What? You're the only one who can have fun with Gu Jingyan. We're not allowed to come here. At the mention of Gu Jingyan's name, Liu Beichen's face darkened. He looked in her direction and said disdainfully, You want to come to this class? If it's possible, I'd change places with you right now. Gu Jingyan turned around and said, Yeah, I also think that some people aren't suitable for this class. You want to come, but it's full. That's great. Someone wants to quit. Hurry up and come. The two of them looked at Gu Jingyan and then at Liu Beichen. No way. What's wrong with the two of you? Hey, don't. It's either her or me. There's no such thing as the two of us, Liu Beichen said. Gu Jingyan snorted and said, That's right. Birds of a feather flock together. I'm not the same as some people. Don't say that in the future. The two of them finally understood. No way. You guys quarreled? No. I don't want to be associated with some people at all. What quarrel? Do you know what it means to play the lute to a cow? How can it be called quarreling with a cow? It's not called quarreling, understand? Gu Jingyan turned around and said, Liu Beichen, who are you calling a cow? Liu Beichen smiled and said, I'm not talking about you. Did I? Don't you think I'm talking about you? You. Everyone understood that the two of them had really quarreled. What? You can leave if you're unhappy. Liu Beichen continued to shout. Gu Jingyan sat down and said, This is my class and my seat. Why should I leave? Even if someone wants to leave, it should be someone who comes later. Hey, you guys really don't want it anymore, right? Shut up. Shut up. The two of them said at the same time. In an instant, the atmosphere became extremely awkward. They looked at each other, and Gu Jingyan snorted and turned around. Liu Beichen also hummed and sat down. The other three of them just stood there and didn't know what to do. Fortunately, it was time for class, and they quickly left. Chapter 1435. Fu Chenxi looked at the two people. Gu Jingyan greeted them and left. She stood there for a while before sitting down. Beichen, who are those two people? She asked in a low voice. Liu Beichen was still staring at the back of Gu Jingyan's head in disdain. Seeing that Gu Jingyan didn't turn around, he harumphed and made a proud expression before picking up his book in a frivolous manner. Upon hearing Fu Chenxi's question, he replied, Oh, they're two buddies I've known since I was young. They got bored at their school, so they transferred here. Oh, I see. I see that you and Gu Jingyan both know them, Fu Chenxi said. Liu Beichen harumphed. Yeah, it's because the circle is so small that these people almost know each other. Fu Chenxi understood. Her lips twitched, and she smiled. Yeah, there are only a few rich people after all. You're both from City B. Did you play together since you were young? I grew up with them. I'm obviously different from some people. Liu Beichen was still unwilling to mention Gu Jingyan's name. Fu Chenxi said, Then why do they seem to know Gu Jingyan so well? Liu Beichen said, Yeah, they're closer to the Gu family, so they grew up in the same compound. That's why they're more familiar with each other. Fu Chenxi understood, but she lowered her head and pinched her hand. She looked at Gu Jingyan and then at Liu Beichen. Liu Beichen felt that her expression wasn't right. He lowered his head and asked, What's wrong? Fu Chenxi smiled. It's nothing. I just feel that your circle is closer. I don't know anything about it. Liu Beichen understood and said nonchalantly, It's nothing. They're just people I've known since I was young. Aren't you the same? When you were young, you always had bad friends and some neighbors. Fu Chenxi said, I was stupid when I was young. I didn't have many friends, and Gu Jingyan is my only friend. Liu Beichen said, Don't you still have me? Fu Chenxi looked at him, touched. Her heart warmed. She smiled and nodded. Yeah, I still have you. But don't quarrel with Gu Jingyan like that anymore. All right. Let's go to class. Liu Beichen immediately frowned and changed the topic. They had lunch at the canteen. Liu Beichen and Fu Chenxi were together. Little Q and old Sue from the next class immediately came over. Looking at Fu Chenxi, little Q asked curiously, "Hey, this is—" Fu Chenxi tensed up and looked at him nervously. Liu Beichen said, "Didn't we meet this morning? She's Fu Chenxi, my girlfriend." Little Q immediately understood. This was his girlfriend. He hadn't seen her before, so of course he wouldn't recognize her, especially with a beauty like Gu Jingyan by his side. How could he have known that Liu Beichen would fall for an ordinary girl like Fu Chenxi? He smiled awkwardly. Hello. He was too embarrassed to say it. In the morning, he was busy watching the two of them quarrel and did not notice Fu Chenxi at all. Besides, Fu Chenxi didn't have much of a presence to begin with. Who would notice such a weak girl by the side of the flamboyant Liu Beichen? Fu Chenxi's face froze. She smiled and didn't say anything. She just followed Liu Beichen obediently. However, he naturally understood what he meant. None of them had noticed her in the morning, but it didn't matter. It was fine as long as Liu Beichen liked her. Fu Chenxi told herself that in her heart. The group of them left the place and rushed to the canteen. Along the way, they attracted countless gazes. A few tall and handsome boys were like sunshine. Moreover, the three of them didn't wear their school uniforms. They were dressed casually but very fashionably, which made them stand out from the crowd. Although they were boys, they had a lot of clothes at home. After all, they weren't ordinary people. Their clothes were all bought by someone. Which of them wasn't from a famous brand and cost thousands of dollars? Although the designs were simple, the details were very beautiful and fashionable. Compared to ordinary children of the same age, they were definitely different. Little Q even wore a huge earpiece around his neck. It was very eye-catching as it swayed along the way. The canteen here is quite big. I wonder if the food is good." Liu Beichen brought the few of them up to the teacher's canteen on the second floor. They could order food upstairs, and the food was much better than the food downstairs. However, it was also much more expensive, especially when it was sold to students. Therefore, ordinary people wouldn't come up to the canteen. Only the rich kids in the school liked to come up to eat. When everyone saw that the few of them had arrived, they immediately made some space for Liu Beichen. The staff of the canteen immediately came over to take their order. Fu Chenxi had never come here to eat before because Gu Jingyan was too low-key. She never came here to eat. Ever since she got together with Liu Beichen, she was brought here to eat every day. When she first came here, she felt that everyone was looking at them, and it made her feel embarrassed. After some time, she got used to it. Everyone would stare at them anyway. However, there were more stares today because there were two more people opposite them. However, the two of them looked at Fu Chenxi curiously from time to time. It made Fu Chenxi a little uncomfortable. "Hey, Beichen, why don't I see Gu Jingyan?" Old Su said. Liu Beichen immediately raised his eyebrows. Old Su said, "Why? You can argue with her. We just arrived today, and you guys are here to welcome us. Can't you just leave her alone?" Old Su said as he looked at the canteen on the first floor. He saw that Gu Jingyan had arrived. However, not long after, a boy appeared next to Gu Jingyan. "Hey, Gu Jingyan, are you being hit on?" Hearing that, Liu Beichen put down his chopsticks and looked down. Gu Jingyan had just sat down when someone appeared next to her. She looked up. "I'm sorry, this place is full. Can I sit?" The boy was very good-looking. When he looked at her, his face was red. He didn't look like one of those arrogant, disgusting boys who hit on her. Gu Jingyan looked around. Indeed, the seats were full. Moreover, this person didn't look that annoying. "Oh, it's okay. Thank you, Gu Jingyan," he said with a smile. "Huh? You know me?" Gu Jingyan didn't remember seeing him before. The boy smiled. "Hello, I'm Zenkai. I know you. Everyone in the school knows you. You're the top student in the school." Gu Jingyan exclaimed. "So that's how it was." She smiled and continued eating. Zenkai looked at her. He was very shy, but also very gentle. "You and Liu Beichen know each other?" he asked again. Gu Jingyan said, "Yeah, that's right. I was thinking that if you didn't know each other long ago, you wouldn't be so close. Those rumors are too disgusting." Gu Jingyan said, "What rumors?" "Nothing. But how did you know each other? Were you classmates?" Zheng Kai thought that an ordinary person wouldn't know someone as high and mighty as Liu Beichun. Gu Jingyan smiled. I just know him. What's wrong with him? What conditions do we have to meet to know him? Of course, ordinary people like us wouldn't know him. He was very humble, saying that he was an ordinary person. However, Gu Jingyan could see that the watch on his hand and the clothes he was wearing were all expensive. At least, he was from a rich family. Chapter 1436. However, compared to Liu Beichun, ordinary wealthy families did not dare to compare themselves with the Liu family. Saint Chiron was a nice person, just a little shy. Gu Jingyan did not dislike him, so she chatted with him for a while. Upstairs, a few of them looked at the people below. Who is that? He's chatting so passionately with Gu Jingza. Fu Qinxi saw them and said meekly, I think he's quite rich. I've seen him before, she said cautiously and uncertainly. Elder Su looked down and chuckled. Miss, we know all the rich people in City B. If we don't know them, then they can't be considered rich. Fu Qinxi's face turned red when she heard that. She had always been cautious with her words, worried that she would say something wrong and become a joke. She did not dare to speak anymore. Is that guy trying to woo Gu Jingyan? Little Q said. Elder Su said, Huh, that's true. Does he know who Gu Jingyan is? It's not easy to woo her. The Gu family is very picky when it comes to choosing a son-in-law. Last year, an Englishman with royal blood came and said that he wanted to date Gu Jingyan. He hoped that Gu Jingyan would study abroad, but the Gu family refused. Liu Beichun looked down and snorted. Forget it. It's good enough that a tigress like her has someone chasing after her. Who cares who it is? Hey, that's not very kind of you. Gu Jingyan is pretty too. Do you know how many people are chasing after her? If it wasn't for the fact that she's the fourth daughter of the Gu family, they wouldn't dare to. Liu Beichun said, Haha, so many people are blind. The few of them shook their heads speechlessly. Forget it. We won't get involved in your quarrel. Let's go down and take a look. If you want to go, you can go. I'm not going. Liu Beichun continued to eat proudly, as if he was not going to budge at all. The few of them had no choice but to go down and look for Gu Jingyan themselves. The two of them were ignoring each other, which made the others feel helpless. But the two of them were very stubborn and no one could persuade them. The next day, Gu Jingyan saw Zheng Kai greeting her on her way home after class. He was sitting in a low-profile Bentley with a chauffeur. Sure enough, his family was quite rich. Let's go, I'll take you back. Where do you live? Gu Jingyan didn't want him to know her identity, so she said, Forget it. I can go back by myself. You go first. I'm not going home yet. I'm going somewhere else. Is that so? I can bring you along. No need. All right. Be careful when you're alone. Gu Jingyan thanked him and watched him get into the car and leave. At the same time, Liu Beichun's red Ferrari drove out from behind. He drove so arrogantly that he brushed past Gu Jingyan. Gu Jingyan paused for a moment and looked over angrily. Unfortunately, he was already there. He couldn't hear her cursing anymore. As it was approaching New Year's Day, the school began to prepare for the New Year's Day dance. Although it was a famous school, it wasn't so rigid. They would often organize parties and dance parties. There were also all kinds of interest clubs. The ultimate goal of this famous school was for students to develop in an all-round way and have outstanding abilities. Therefore, the school believed that developing good social skills from a young age would help them in their future. It was the first time the Year 1 students were attending a dance party. They were a little nervous, but also excited. Everyone was discussing what clothes to wear. Fu Qinxi wanted to ask Gu Jingyan. She didn't have her own opinions and had to ask Gu Jingyan first. However, Gu Jingyan was quarreling with Liu Beichun, so she didn't have the chance to ask. Just then, Liu Beichun looked at Fu Qinxi. What's wrong with you? You look so gloomy. Fu Qinxi said, Well, I don't know what to wear to the dance party. Although it was difficult, she didn't want to dress too shabbily and embarrass Liu Beichun. Dance party. Anything. I don't have any requirements, Liu Beichun said indifferently. Fu Qinxi said, But I don't have any dresses. I don't know if I should wear one. Liu Beichun looked at her. Let's go. He pulled her up and walked out. Fu Qinxi asked, Where are we going? To buy dresses. Fuchensi had never been to such a high-class shop. After changing into those high-quality long dresses, she suddenly felt as if she had become more noble. Moreover, the respectful attitude of the shop assistant made her feel very fresh. She had never dared to look inside when she passed by here. She always felt that the shop assistants were very picky. If they saw her looking inside, they would definitely look at her with disdain. So when she walked by, she would always act as if she knew that she couldn't afford it and that she didn't like the clothes here. Actually, which girl didn't like beautiful dresses? The dresses here looked beautiful. Even if the ones outside were exactly the same as the ones here, it still felt different. Perhaps this was the power of money. Fuchensi changed into a few dresses. Liu Beichen was very generous and bought them all at once. Fuchensi was embarrassed. This is so expensive. It's so expensive. It cost tens of thousands. Liu Beichen said, "This is nothing. Let's go." Fuchensi looked at the side of his face and smiled. She felt that he didn't mind spending money for her. He must like her. Although Fuchensi didn't understand why he would choose her as his girlfriend. Because she didn't understand, because she knew that the gap between them was too big, she sometimes felt guilty. She always felt that she had stolen him. She always felt that he would leave her one day, that the dance party began in a joyous atmosphere. Once Fuchensi entered the hall, she felt that she had made the right decision to buy these clothes. The people who came in were all beautifully dressed and well-groomed, especially the second and third year high school students. They were experienced and knew how to dress up. There were also many beautiful girls in the first year of high school. The students who usually wore school uniforms looked youthful and beautiful when they dressed up. Fuchensi was noticed by many people when she came in. Is that Fuchensi? Wow, it's different being with young Master Liu. She's so beautiful. That dress looks expensive. Clothes make the man. She looks much prettier than usual. Everyone looked at Fuchensi in awe. Later, Liu Beichen came and walked in with her side by side. It made everyone sigh. Fuchensi unconsciously held onto Liu Beichen's arm. For the first time, she felt that she wasn't so weak when she stood beside him. Indeed, clothes were really important. She smiled and followed Liu Beichen into the hall under everyone's gaze. From afar, she could see that old Sue and little Q had arrived. Chapter 1437. Wow, Chensi looks pretty today. After the past few days, everyone had become more familiar with Chensi. When they saw that she was dressed so elegantly, they started to praise her. Fuchensi was overjoyed. She felt that she had been acknowledged. She lowered her head and said with a red face, "No, Beichen brought me to buy clothes." The guys were all dressed in suits. They were not as stiff as before, but they made their tall bodies look very upright. They looked more handsome than their usual lazy selves. Everyone couldn't help but look over, attracted by the handsome guys and beautiful girls. Then, someone suddenly said, "Wow, that's Gu Jingyan, right?" Gu Jingyan had arrived. She walked into the hall, dragging her dress. Because the school had enrolled her for a piano class, she had to dress up a little to perform on stage. She was wearing a color-matched long dress with a fairy-like hemline, which dragged on the ground slightly. As she walked, it was like a light smoke spreading around her. Her waist was slender and her buttocks were plump. Her shoulders were thin and weak, and she wore a sling on top. Her shoulders were snow white, and her collarbone was obvious. Her slender sleeves and long neck made her look even more prominent. Her hair was bulging and a little bit drooped down. She wore a lace headband that wrapped around her forehead. She looked like a princess from the Middle Ages. She exuded a fairy-like aura and was full of nobility. "Wow, she's so beautiful." Everyone couldn't help but exclaim. It was the first time they had seen such a beautiful girl standing right in front of them. Meanwhile, old Sue almost burst out laughing. "Fuck, is that Gu Jingyan? She's so beautiful." Of course, little Q said, "How could you be wrong about that face?" Old Sue patted little Q's shoulder. "No, she looks like a goddess if she dresses up a little. Seriously, I don't usually pay attention to her. No, she's too beautiful. I have to go after her, or else someone else will benefit." Little Q hurriedly pulled him back. "Come on, she knows all about your romantic history. You're going to go after her?" You won't be able to get her in this lifetime. Oh, what a pity. If I had known earlier, I wouldn't have let her get involved in the past. Of course, as friends, they were just joking. However, Gu Jingyan's beauty was obvious to all. Liu Beichen couldn't help but squint. Beautiful. It was indeed beautiful. Even though Liu Beichen was prejudiced against her, he could not deny her beauty. As she walked in gracefully, everyone turned to look at her. Little Q patted Liu Beichen. I look good, right? Liu Beichen snapped out of his daze. Haha, ostentatious. TSK, you really don't know how to appreciate it. That's enough. He already has a girlfriend. No matter how pretty she is, you can't admire her anymore. Plus, Beichen definitely doesn't like her, said old Su. Fu Chenxi's rising heart stopped the moment she saw Gu Jingyan. It was as if he only knew what beauty was when he saw her. Fu Chenxi suddenly felt that she was still an ugly duckling and could never become a swan. As for Gu Jingyan, she was a real princess. He was so envious of her. Fu Chenxi thought, why is the heavens so unfair? Some people are so beautiful, so rich, as if they are favored by the heavens. As for her, she was so ordinary. At that moment, the dance began. Fu Chenxi watched as everyone ran off to dance. The second and third year students had already learned how to do ballroom dancing, but they were still clueless and watched from the back. Gu Jingyan was not around, and everyone was still looking for her. Where is Gu Jingyan? Oh my, she's so beautiful. I wanted to ask her to dance. She's going to play the piano later. She's going to the back to prepare. At that moment, Liu Beichen sneered. He was thinking that Gu Jingyan was really too ostentatious. In the past, she used to say that she was ostentatious, but now, she seemed to be more low-key. Although he knew that it was hard for a girl like Gu Jingyan to not be ostentatious, because she was indeed so beautiful and talented. She was more outstanding than most people. Everyone cheered until the middle of the dance. Then, the MC went up to speak. Next, let's welcome our talented lady, Gu Jingyan. She will play a piano piece for everyone. For Alice. At that moment, they saw a rocking stage with a piano and Gu Jingyan on it. She sat in front of the piano like an angel. The moment she appeared, the piano started playing. Wow, she's so beautiful. She looks so professional when she plays the piano. She's much better than a grade 10 piano player. It's because she's so elegant. She's like a princess. Everyone couldn't help but gasp in admiration. Fu Chenxi also clenched her fists. How could Gu Jingyan know everything? She could even play the piano so well. At that moment, there was a click from below. Someone shouted, "Oh no, the stage is broken." However, Gu Jingyan was stunned. The stage had already tilted. She slid down, and the huge and heavy piano slid down with her. Ah, Gu Jingyan. The people below screamed. They looked at this accident helplessly. Just when they thought that Gu Jingyan was about to be crushed by the piano, she saw a group photo and immediately dashed out. Before everyone could react, he had already grabbed Gu Jingyan and dragged her over. Gu Jingyan didn't expect to meet with an accident while playing the piano. She couldn't react in time. In the next moment, he was pulled over by a strong arm. She fell into an embrace. She raised her head and met Liu Beichen's abyss-like eyes. She was stunned for a moment. He sat on the ground, and Gu Jingyan fell on top of him. Hiss! Liu Beichen snorted and frowned. Only then did everyone realize what was going on. Quick, come and take a look. Ah, are you all right, young Master Liu? Fu Chenxi looked at him blankly. She didn't even know when Liu Beichen went out. After a long while, she finally reacted. And Gu Jingyan didn't expect that Liu Beichen, who was so far away, would run over to her immediately. Are you all right? Gu Jingyan asked. Liu Beichen frowned. Of course. It's so heavy. It fell on me. Do you think I'll be all right? Then get up. Gu Jingyan wanted to get off the stage, but she felt a sharp pain in her ankle. When she got off the stage, the piano didn't fall on her, but it did fall on her foot. Liu Beichen looked down and quickly grabbed her. All right. Don't move. It wasn't easy to save your life. Don't throw yourself away. Let me do it. Actually, he was fine. He got up and carried Gu Jingyan in his arms. Although she looked tall, Gu Jingyan was very light. Gu Jingyan froze. Being carried by him, she could only reach out and hug him. Chapter 1438. Under everyone's gaze, Liu Beichun carried Gu Jingyan and walked towards the infirmary. In the infirmary, Gu Jingyan was put down. The doctor quickly came over and saw that the back of her foot was red and swollen. It doesn't look like a fracture. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to move right now. The doctor massaged her foot and sprayed some medicine on it. But it's better to go to the hospital for a checkup. Liu Beichun said. Then why are you still here? Let's go. I'll take you to the hospital. Liu Beichun said. Want to come over again? Gu Jingyan quickly said, Sai, it's fine. Why go to the hospital? I'll just let the doctor at home take a look. Liu Beichun thought about it and agreed. The Gu family had a doctor. Why would she go to the hospital? I'll call your family to come and pick you up. I'll call them myself. If you call them, my family won't think that something big happened to me and I can't make a phone call. They might get into more trouble. She looked up at Liu Beichun. She looked at him deeply. Liu Beichun looked at her. What's wrong? Didn't you sit quite far away? How could you run so fast? She said. Liu Beichun said. Io, you still have the cheek to say that? I realized that the tilt of the platform wasn't right. You guys are really good. For the sake of the show, you made such a difficult sign. Luckily, you're fine. Otherwise, your face wouldn't look good. It would have been flattened and disfigured even if you didn't die. Get lost. How is my face not good? Yeah, you think it's pretty good. The two of them laughed as they spoke. Just then, Old Sue and Little Q came in. Fu Chenxi also walked in silently from behind. She was stunned to see the two of them laughing in front of the bed. Had they reconciled? Fu Chenxi looked at Gu Jingyan. Is your leg okay? I think it hit your leg. Gu Jingyan looked at Fu Chenxi and smiled. It's fine. Fu Chenxi said, It was too dangerous. I was scared to death. Luckily, Beichun ran fast. Old Sue also said, Yeah, he ran faster than a rabbit. I was still in a daze, and he had already gone over. Luckily, you reacted in time, Little Q said. Gu Jingyan said, Okay. Anyway, thank you for your concern. I think I'll be limping for a few days, but the doctor said I didn't hurt my bones. Gu Jingyan quickly made a call home. The Gu family immediately sent someone to take her back for treatment. Liu Beichun and the others left together. Fu Chenxi looked at Liu Beichun and said, You're really fast. I haven't seen anything yet. Liu Beichun said, Of course my reflexes have always been quick. Fu Chenxi tilted her head and looked at him. In the end, she didn't say anything. When Gu Jingyan told her family about it, they were also scared. They even wanted to get 2 security guards to follow her. But of course, Gu Jingyan didn't want it. She immediately rejected it. How could she go to class with security? She didn't want to be stared at wherever she went. However, in order to thank Liu Beichun, the Gu family invited them over for a visit. Gu Jingyan told Liu Beichun and the others about it. Since they were free on the weekend, they decided to visit Gu Jingyan. Fu Chenxi followed them. The 4 of them followed. Liu Beichun drove his flashy Ferrari. It had 2 seats, so he only brought Fu Chenxi along. Behind them, Old Sue drove his family's Lamborghini, and Little Q drove a Maserati. The few of them stopped in front of Gu Jingyan's house. It didn't seem out of place. After all, the Gu family's mansion wasn't an ordinary place. It wasn't close to other houses, but they could still see that they were all villas. It was obvious that this was a wealthy area. Although Fu Chenxi had seen the Gu family's mansion from the outside, she had never entered it. When she entered, she realized that it didn't look like much from the outside, but it was even bigger inside. After entering, the servant brought them to look for Gu Jingyan. Although she was fine, they still arranged a wheelchair for her. She sat in the middle and waited for them speechlessly. Oh, not bad. You're a disabled person now, Old Sue said. Gu Jingyan said angrily, It's all because of the doctor at home. He said that I can't move around much, so Mother got me a wheelchair immediately. Fortunately, the wheelchair was electric. After getting used to it, she could go wherever she wanted. This place is not bad. Are you living in this house? In the Gu family's courtyard, there were small individual buildings not far away from each other. The children in the family all lived in their own buildings. Her building wasn't considered big. The biggest one belonged to her second brother because he had a lot of equipment in his place. She didn't have anything to put, so she asked for a smaller one. The decorations inside were not simple. They were all arranged by Mu Wanqing. It was like a princess's room. She could see how much effort was put into it. This small building was actually lived by Gu Jingyan alone. Fu Qinxi couldn't help but exclaim. She had always thought that the rich and powerful families on television were already very extravagant. The family lived in a big villa with several rooms. However, Gu Jingyan's house was still beyond her expectations. Everyone actually had a small villa. Gu Jingyan said, "You can eat and play as you please. I told them not to disturb us. We can eat here later. It's too annoying to go to the dining room. Grandfather is very serious. You will definitely be scared to death." "Huh, okay. Hey, is upstairs your bedroom?" "No. I have to go in and see if there are any secrets hidden." Lao Su usually came to the Gu family, but he had never been to Gu Jingyan's room. He ran up out of curiosity. Hey, come back here. Who allowed you to go up? You're not allowed to go up." Little Q grabbed Lai Su's back and pulled him down the stairs. "Seriously, how can you look in a girl's room?" Little Q said righteously. "What if you see something you can't see, such as underwear or something? Go to hell." Gu Jingyan couldn't move her feet, so she threw a pillow at him. They laughed. Seeing that the servants had brought food over to eat, they moved out a bigger space in the living room and sat there, ready to play games. Gu Jingyan and Fu Qinxi watched from the side as the boys started to fight. Liu Beichen played the game very well and kept winning. Lao Su was not bad either, but he almost won every time. He was so angry that he wanted to curse. "Ah, Liu Beichen, get out of my way. Ah, Liu Beichen, how can you bear to hit me like this?" Fu Qinxi watched from the side. When she thought that he was her boyfriend, she suddenly felt extremely proud. He was really handsome in every way. Gu Jingyan looked at the time. "You guys play. I'm going to take my medicine first." "Go ahead. Don't stop taking your medicine. When you come down, I will have beaten Liu Beichen up." Unfortunately, after a while, he was beaten up by Liu Beichen again. "Fuck, I'm not playing anymore." Lao Su waved his arm angrily, and the drink beside him spilled on Liu Beichen's pants. Chapter 1439. "Fuck, you can't take revenge like this even if you can't win." Liu Beichen jumped up immediately. Old Su was still laughing out loud. The servant saw him and said quickly, "Young Master Liu, let's get you some clothes to change into." Liu Beichen snorted and followed the servant upstairs. The servant said, "The clothes here are all new. The butler prepared them for you. We just brought a few sets here. You can choose from them." Liu Beichen said, "Okay, I got it." The servant left him to change on the second floor and left. Liu Beichen chose a set at random. The brand was not bad. The butler of the Gu family was good at choosing. He walked out and wandered around the corridor for a while. He heard some movement inside, the sound of someone humming a song. It was probably Gu Jingyan. He thought that this woman was so cheerful and even humming a song. Her humming was so unpleasant. He walked over with a smile and saw that the door was slightly open. Through the gap, that slender figure was standing there, putting on her underwear. She was only wearing a small dress. Although the weather was cold, the Gu family's floor heating was still very hot. In the room, she was wearing an ordinary home wear with a skirt underneath. At this moment, she was standing on one foot, twisting and turning as she put on her underwear under the dress. That Liu Beichen froze there. He couldn't move his feet at all. He just followed his gaze and looked inside. Underneath, her long sleeves were crossed. The underwear was on her calves and couldn't be pulled up. He could see that it was a pair of lace underwear, dark blue in color. It was small and looked like it would disappear if he clenched it with one hand. Since she was wearing that meant that she wasn't wearing it inside, that she was naked. At this thought, Liu Beichen felt his nose and body heat up, that he should leave, but his feet seemed to be fixed there and he couldn't move. His gaze couldn't help but want to see what was going on. He was already a teenager in puberty. How could he hold himself back when he saw such a scene? He could even feel that his body was quietly changing. Even though he knew about this, he had never been so impulsive. When he was with Fu Qinxi, it was good enough to hold her hand. He had never thought of anything else. However, now that he saw such a scene, he suddenly couldn't help it. However, at this moment, inside, because Gu Jingyan's foot was injured, she was standing on one leg while putting on the clothes for herself. Due to a moment of carelessness, her body tilted sideways. At this moment, Liu Beichun forgot that he was peeping and subconsciously ran in. Gu Jingyan thought she was going to fall again. Never would he have thought that the person behind him would directly fall in front of him. She sat on his thighs. It was a little uncomfortable, but it was better than falling on the ground. However, when she lowered her head and met his eyes, she was stunned for a moment. Why was Liu Beichun here? She had yet to react and could only stare blankly at him. However, Liu Beichun almost lost his mind. Her meaty skin was directly pressed against him, that although he was wearing a thin pair of pants, he could still feel the warmth coming from them. Moreover, he had been impulsive to begin with, and the thing down there was uncontrollably raised. However, Gu Jingyan did not know. She only saw that Liu Beichun's face was suspiciously red. She did not know why, but it was getting redder and redder. Hey, what's wrong? Did I hurt you? Gu Jingyan's heart skipped a beat. She thought that she had hurt him. She quickly tried to move, but she felt her waist being grabbed by him. You, Gu Jingyan said, what's wrong with you? Let me get up. Don't move. This stupid woman, Liu Beichun cursed in his heart as he looked at her with a burning gaze. Gu Jingyan quickly tried to get up, but she felt something slip on her calf. She looked down. It was her underwear. Damn. She had forgotten that she was still changing her pants. Her face instantly turned red. She remembered that she was not wearing anything and was really sitting on his thighs. She was going to die. She quickly jumped up. You, get out. Blushing, she did not dare to look at him and leaned to the side. Liu Beichun also felt guilty. He covered a certain part of his body and quickly retreated. Gu Jingyan quickly sat on the ground and put on her underwear. She was still puzzled. This Liu Beichun, when did he appear at the door? Wasn't he playing games? Why was he upstairs? What did he see just now? Her face was getting redder and redder. She felt as if her face was burning. Gosh, what was this guy doing? Not to mention what he had seen. Just that moment alone was enough to make her feel unbearable. And below, Fu Chenxi waited for a long time, but no one came out. After a while, she was still puzzled when she saw Liu Beichun running down quickly. He had changed into a new set of clothes. He looked a little strange, as if he was running away from something. Fu Chenxi quickly said, "What's wrong, Beichun? Are you feeling unwell?" Liu Beichun paused to calm himself down and slowed down. "Oh, I'm fine." He walked down and sat beside Old Su. Old Su turned around and said, "Damn, what's wrong with you? Your face looks like it's been cooked." Liu Beichun glared at him forcefully. Just then, Gu Jingyan also came down. She came down slowly and saw Liu Beichun first. But coincidentally, Liu Beichun was also looking at her. The two of them looked at each other. The daring feeling from above came back again. It was as if her heart had been struck by something and her body felt hot again. Old Su looked up and saw that Gu Jingyan's face was also red. "Hey, where did you two go? Don't tell me you want to steal something? Why are your faces so red?" Old Su didn't know what to say and directly asked. Gu Jingyan threw something directly at his face. Liu Beichun followed up with a punch. "What's wrong with you? What's wrong with me?" However, as the two of them fought and looked at each other, they still couldn't stop blushing. The two of them quickly turned their heads and stopped looking at each other. After a while, they finally calmed down. Fu Chenxi was still watching them. She also felt that something was wrong with the two of them, but she didn't know how to ask. She could only stare at them, back and forth, hoping to find out something. But after that, the two of them stopped looking at each other, and the matter could only be left unsettled. Gu Jingyan snatched Old Su's controller and went to play games while Liu Beichun leaned against her without moving. Old Su said, "Beichun, what happened when you went upstairs?" Liu Beichun glared at him and said, "It was hot upstairs." Yes, it was very hot, very hot. As Liu Beichun thought about it, he couldn't help but glance at Gu Jingyan's back again. He was thinking about how she looked when she sat in his arms. He couldn't get rid of it. Chapter 1440. They stayed at Gu Jingyan's place until nighttime. After having dinner together, they went home. When it was time for school, they went to school together again. Everyone watched as Gu Jingyan and Liu Beichun walked together again. However, there were a few more people this time. Old Su, Little Q, Fu Chenxi, and Gu Jingyan were with Liu Beichun. Sometimes, Gu Jingyan and Liu Beichun could be seen walking together. People even said that Gu Jingyan and Liu Beichun looked like a good match, and they looked much more harmonious. In comparison, Fu Chenxi was a little too weak. She was not as imposing as Gu Jingyan. When they reached the entrance of the classroom, they separated and went back to their own classes. In class, the teacher mentioned the final exam next month. Gu Jingyan then remembered that the teacher had said that if Liu Beichun did not pass the next exam, she would be punished together with him. After class, she turned around and said to Liu Beichun, "Hey, do well this time. I don't want to be punished together with you, okay?" Liu Beichun remembered it too. There's still some time before the exam. Seeing his attitude, Gu Jingyan felt that it was hopeless. She looked up at the sky and sighed. Forget it. I must have owed you my past life. Seeing that he had saved her, Gu Jingyan did not want to quarrel with him over this, so she turned around and said nothing more. Seeing this, Liu Beichun thought for a moment and hit her from behind with a paper ball. Gu Jingyan frowned and turned around. "What are you doing?" Liu Beichun said, "All right, let's study together tonight, okay?" "Really? It's true, it's true. Look at you." Seeing Gu Jingyan's bright smile, Liu Beichun was speechless. Gu Jingyan smiled and said, "Of course, I'm a good student." At night, the three of them studied together. Old Su and Little Q came over and saw that the three of them were actually doing their homework. Bored, they said, "Okay, you guys continue being good students. We're going for a race." Gu Jingyan looked at them disdainfully. "Okay, we'll bring you food when we go in." After the two of them left, the three of them continued to study. Fu Chenxi's studies were average, but Gu Jingyan seemed to know everything. No matter what question it was not difficult for her. Fu Chenxi looked at Gu Jingyan enviously. "Why is your brain so good? I really can't remember anything. I don't know what to do." Gu Jingyan said, "It's really not difficult. It's just that you didn't read the questions carefully and wrote the answers before you understood the meaning of the questions. That's why you ended up like this. Look, isn't this question the same? But I really can't remember. I think English is so difficult, but your English results are so good." Liu Beichun said, "That's enough. It's not that there's something wrong with you. What you did is normal. What you did was abnormal." "Huh?" Fu Chenxi looked at him. Liu Beichun said, "Their families are all like that. Their eldest son, Gu Jingming, is a rising star in the political world. He graduated from Stanford University. Their second son, who skipped many years to study, got into the University of Chicago when he was in his teens. He's studying 3 subjects at the same time. Their brains are all weird. Why are you competing with her in this?" Fu Chenxi looked at Gu Jingyan in admiration and said, "Wow, your eldest and second brothers are so awesome. No wonder. Maybe it's also hereditary." Fu Chenxi sighed. This must be God's choice. If she couldn't do it, then she couldn't do it. Gu Jingyan said, "Hey, don't blame God for your own incompetence. There's always a knock on the door. It's just that you don't understand it." "Oh, you're talking as if your English isn't related to your nanny who graduated from Cambridge University in England." Fu Chenxi slowly became a little jealous. It turned out that their nanny had been English since they were young. No wonder she didn't need to learn English, and she was so fluent. But she had only started learning English in the 3rd grade. Of course, she didn't know anything. Gu Jingyan said, "Hurry up and read your book." Liu Beichun laughed and continued to do the questions. Fu Chenxi looked at the two of them and sighed in her heart. She felt that they didn't belong to the same world. But the good thing was that Liu Beichun didn't like people like Gu Jingyan. Maybe he felt that she was special because he was surrounded by people like her. Fu Chenxi was worried that Liu Beichun wouldn't notice her if she stayed with Gu Jingyan for a long time. She started to see that he interacted with Old Su and Little Q in the same way and felt that they were probably friends. As his girlfriend, she couldn't be so suspicious of her boyfriend. So she tried her best to control herself. She didn't want to be a meddlesome girlfriend. When Gu Jingyan finished school, she saw Sang Kai at the door. He saw Gu Jingyan and said, "Ah, the weather is so cold. You're wearing this?" Gu Jingyan was wearing less. She didn't notice it in the morning, but it was snowing in the afternoon. Sang Kai said, "Here's your jacket." Huh? Sang Kai took off his down jacket and gave it to Gu Jingyan. But Sang Kai was only wearing a cotton t-shirt. He threw the jacket to Gu Jingyan and skipped away. Gu Jingyan watched helplessly as he quickly got into a car. She could only hold onto the down jacket and sigh. Actually, she was going to get into the car soon. It wouldn't be cold. The next day, she could only run to Sang Kai's class. Sang Kai was a year older than them and was a sophomore. When she reached the entrance of their class, she pulled someone aside and said, "Can you call Sang Kai from your class?" The person at the door looked at Gu Jingyan and was stunned. Then, he rushed in like the wind, as if he had discovered something amazing. "Wow, Sang Kai, there's a beauty looking for you." When Gu Jingyan heard this excited voice, she stood at the door and rolled her eyes. Was it that exaggerated? Sang Kai rushed out. When he saw Gu Jingyan, he smiled shyly and said, "You're here." Gu Jingyan passed him a bag and said, "It's been dry cleaned." "Thank you." Although she hadn't worn it before, she still cleaned it well and brought it here. Sang Kai laughed and said, "I'm just wearing it. Why did you have to dry clean it? It's as if I brought it to you to be washed." "Haha, so that's why you gave it to me," Gu Jingyan said jokingly. Sang Kai laughed and said, Yeah, you found out." Gu Jingyan realized that the people behind her were looking at her curiously. It was a little annoying, so she curled her lips and said, "I'll go back first then." Sang Kai also realized it and said embarrassedly, "They're curious because you're too famous." Gu Jingyan said, "What fame do I have? You just don't know. I'll send you there." Chapter 1441. Asterisk, it's okay. I'm downstairs. There's nothing to send. Gu Jingyan skipped away. Sang Kai looked at the clothes in his hands, smiled, and returned to class. Sure enough, everyone was sighing in class. "Wow, Sang Kai, what's going on? Wow, you're so lucky with the ladies." Sang Kai's face turned red. In the afternoon, Fu Chenxi heard rumors that Gu Jingyan had gone at Sang Kai's class. Then, everyone was talking about how the two of them knew each other. Sang Kai was also a millionaire with a small reputation. His family owned a factory and did OEM work. His family had some money, and he was a good person. Therefore, everyone was wondering if Gu Jingyan would be with him. Actually, there were many millionaires who pursued Gu Jingyan. Some of them did not openly, but secretly. Later, when they saw that Gu Jingyan was always with Liu Beichun, they did not dare to pursue her so openly. They still showed their affection for her. However, many of these millionaires were good-for-nothings and were not as good as Sang Kai. Everyone felt that it was not impossible for Gu Jingyan to like Sang Kai. After all, he was a good person. If Gu Jingyan was smart, she would find someone like him. Fu Chenxi told Liu Beichun. They all said that Gu Jingyan is going to be with Sang Kai. Sang Kai. Liu Beichun said, "It's the one we saw eating with them last time." Liu Beichun remembered. "That's impossible. Gu Jingyan doesn't like him." "No, they said that Gu Jingyan went to his class to look for him today." Liu Beichun turned his head immediately. "Who said that?" Fu Chenxi was startled by his expression. "That's right. Everyone is talking about it. I didn't mean to pry. It's just that Gu Jingyan is too famous in the school. Everyone will look at her wherever she goes. If there's any movement, everyone will spread the news." Liu Beichun frowned. He still felt that it was impossible. "All right, these people love to spread lies. Don't mind them." Fu Chenxi said quickly. "Oh, I know." After class, Liu Beichun hit Gu Jingyan with a paper ball. "Hey, why did you go to Year 2's class to look for a man?" Gu Jingyan said, "What do you mean by finding a man? Isn't it you? Everyone's saying that you want to look for saying something again?" Gu Jingyan's eyes widened. "Sang Kai. Yes. This name is too hard to remember," he said. Gu Jingyan said speechlessly, "What's there to spread? I'm just going to deliver something." Liu Beichun looked at her and thought that it was as he had expected. With her attitude, there should be nothing wrong. Tsk. That's why I said that these people are really good at passing messages. You better be careful and don't go out and fool around. Get lost. You're the one who's seducing me. She turned around and threw the ball of paper back. Unexpectedly, at this moment, someone at the door shouted, "Gu Jingyan, someone's looking for you." Gu Jingyan nodded and walked out. It was Zheng Kai. "Why are you here?" Gu Jingyan asked. Sun Kai said, "Thank you for washing my clothes. I'll give you this to eat." Gu Jingyan saw that he was holding a strawberry in his hand. "Ah, so many strawberries. It's not easy to buy them in this season." "Yeah, my grandpa grew them himself. It's for you. They're really sweet." Gu Jingyan couldn't refuse. "Thank you." She took it and looked at it. The people around her seemed to be looking at her again. Thinking about what Liu Beichen had said, she said, "Well, I'll go in first then. I'm still doing my homework." "Oh, okay. Go in. Bye." When she went back, Liu Beichen's neck was stretched out. When Gu Jingyan went out, some people were already talking happily. "It's Sun Kai. I heard that he's chasing after Gu Jingyan. It looks like it's true. You're looking for me today, and I'll look for you tomorrow. I think it's reasonable. Gu Jingyan is a good student." Will she have puppy love? What era are we in now to talk about puppy love? Seeing that Gu Jingyan had returned, everyone stopped talking. Liu Beichen looked at the strawberry in her hand and snorted coldly. "Hey, what's this?" He reached out to snatch it. Gu Jingyan dodged. "Don't move. You don't want to eat strawberries." "Hey, why don't I eat it? Strawberries are so sweet. They're obviously for girls." Hee hee. Don't tell me that she gave it to you and you can't bear to let me eat it." "What? I just don't want you to eat it and waste it." Hee hee. As if I care about it. Liu Beichen rolled his eyes. Gu Jingyan said, Yes, yes, yes. Young master, Liu doesn't care about a few strawberries. Don't fight with me then." Gu Jingyan opened the box and saw that the strawberries were washed. They were very clean. She picked one up and ate it. It was indeed sweet. "Yeah, it tastes good." Liu Beichen looked at her eating contentedly. He gritted his teeth and snatched the strawberry. Gu Jingyan wanted to take it back, but Liu Beichen reached out and snatched it away. "Hey, Liu Beichen, what are you doing? I thought you didn't care about it." "What's wrong? Can't I eat one?" He stuffed it into his mouth. "TSK, I thought it was something good." As he ate, he curled his lips in disdain. Gu Jingyan looked at him. She felt like she was going to die from anger. "Hey, why are you fighting with me for it if you don't like it?" She went over to snatch it back indignantly. Liu Beichen's hand was very long. He raised it high and refused to give it to her. "Give it to me. Hurry up and give it to me." She jumped up to take it, but Liu Beichen raised it even higher. "You." Gu Jingyan tried to snatch it again. She touched it, and the box of strawberries fell to the ground. Liu Beichen stomped on one of them and crushed it. "You." Gu Jingyan's face darkened. She stood there and stomped her feet. "Liu Beichen, you did it on purpose, didn't you?" Liu Beichen raised his eyebrows. Looking at the strawberries on the ground, he took a step back and said nonchalantly, "Io, there's nothing to eat now. Look at you, why are you snatching it?" He dared to blame her? Gu Jingyan looked at him. "Liu Beichen, you did it on purpose. You don't want to waste it if you don't eat it." "How did I do it on purpose?" Why? It's a gift from a man, and now it has fallen to the ground. Are you sad? Really? Can't you be more mature? It's just strawberries." "You." Gu Jingyan was really going to die from his weird tone. "Isn't it just a man? If you want, I have a stack of them. I can introduce them to you one by one. There are so many better than Zheng Kai." Gu Jingyan stretched out her hands and pushed Liu Beichen's chest. Liu Beichen was pushed so hard that he leaned back and fell to the ground. Everyone looked at them curiously. What was going on between the two of them? Why were they fighting in the classroom? Gu Jingyan was too awesome. She even dared to hit young Master Liu like that. You're tuning into the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.